All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to everyone. Let me finish clicking on some stuff real quick and acknowledge that Zachary's starting the day out strong in the chat with a 199 donation. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And we've got a decent show set up for you today as far as topics are concerned. I'm going to try to avoid yesterday's current events if I can help it, but we'll see what happens. I told this thing to make a copy of the window so I can see what you see. And it says it did, but I don't see where. And I don't know how to close the one that it thinks it made. Let's try. Let's try to make a new one. Da, da, da. There it is. While we wait for it to come on, next thing we'll need to do is open a browser window so we can look at the stories and talk about them. So let's go there. Oh, the window is ready. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, we'll minimize the solar output window and we'll go from there. Let's click on a browser and we'll click new window and that'll shove that window over to the laptop screen. No, we don't need it on the iPad. Built-in screen. There you go. Oh, my home screen distraction thing that they've got going on has a Cybertruck story, so we'll start there. It's purely reaction because I haven't seen it yet. All right, so the next thing we need to do is while that thing clicks in, somebody didn't crash the, there we go. Somebody didn't crash the browser. We need to tell it to go into presentation view. So let's go there. And make sure the collaboration cam is still on. It is. And then we need to find the window capture and select. Oh, it's already almost the right shape. Select. Not drive Tesla. Nothing wrong with them, just they're not the one we're clicking on right now. Not the Hurricane Center. We'll get there eventually. I also know what it's called. There it is, bystander, whatever that's about. Done. All right, that is coming in a little on the right. More on the right. Let it go, see what happens. All right, almost perfect. There we go. A lot on the bottom. To just under the picture. There. All right, let's see what they're talking about with the Cybertruck. We see bystander captures unbelievable new feature on camera. Good to see a work truck being put to work. I mean, who other than the people who were buying it for show, uh, who thought that it was not a truck capable of doing work? Obviously, all the anti-Tesla people, but the ones of them that would not lie to themselves and lie to the world. Let's just put it that way. TikToker recently posted a video of a Tesla Cybertruck with an aftermarket cargo rack being used to haul construction supplies. Ooh, let's take a look. And I guess we don't need to unmute it. Do we? Continue. Definitely not. There's music on that one. All right, so that's a robust rack that they can unload a whole forklift of wood onto it. Interesting. I don't know. That's not that I didn't think the truck could do it, but that rack didn't look that robust from the probably because it's in portrait. I guess the video is not in portrait. You can see how it's cut off a little bit, but the way that the video is set up, it doesn't look like the rack is very robust. All right, they're doing it one by one, so they're not going to just drop the forklift onto it. That was how I had envisioned it would go. Oh, okay. From that angle, it's a lot more beefy, like a scaffolding or ladder rack. Not definitely not the Tesla stock rack. And I like they did a decent job on the construction on that thing. Oh, and they're loading up the inside. There you go. And this is what we keep saying: what that it doesn't matter what your feelings are on this. The bean counters are going to notice right away that this truck does all the job they need it to do while eliminating the fuel cost. Well, not eliminating the fuel cost, but crushing the fuel cost. And for all of my Australian farmers in the audience, but they're nothing against any actual Australian farmers, but I'm talking about the sea lions that like to come out and talk about their 1,000-mile commutes between their house and any sort of civilization with either electricity or fuel, and all this other ridiculousness that I hear as they move the goalposts repeatedly about why such and such EV or hybrid will not work for them. Uh, it started with hybrids, but now we're fully onto EVs. So that was nice. That was very good. Thank you for sharing that. Let's take a look and see what kind of comments we're looking at. They are bound to be atrocious. Let's take a look. They most likely overloaded the truck and put that much weight up so far above the center of gravity is dangerous. Do you know what the center of gravity is, Mr. Texas Forever? And it can hold 2,500 pounds for payload. So, what you talk about? What you talk about with this? Some people have reported towing 11,000 pounds in one. Yeah, that's the tow rating. As a result, they only got 70 miles of range out. Yeah, if you tow something really square and go miles above the speed limit, uh, it will affect your range. And I don't think I've seen as low as 70. Majority weight is in the battery pack, which resides at the mid tire level. Why do so many people carry the water for the Middle Eastern countries? Yes, and by Middle Eastern they mean oil, oil, the oil cartel, OPEC and such. Their GDP will collapse if we stop buying their oil and use electric. I have solar panels on my roof at 13.2 kilowatts, unless he means he makes 13.2 kilowatt hours per day, and haven't bought gas in 4 years. Paid an electric bill. Like, so yeah, he's definitely talking kilowatts because uh, it would definitely not be able to do all of that on 13.2 kilowatt hours. Let's see. In 4 years, electric bill beyond the $18 connection fee and couldn't be happier with the products. Plus, when my utility turns grid power off because of a gnat forest or a wildfire threat, my system with 40.5 kilowatt hours of batteries takes care of it. Uh, Open your minds, people. That's a substantial amount of batteries. That's double what I've got in this house, and that's probably double of my useful solar. I've got I think eight or 9 kilowatts of solar, but cannot harvest it all because my microinverters are smaller than not physically, they are physically smaller, but they have a less capacity than the panels do. At the time, the cost to catch all of the size of the panels didn't make sense with what the micros were charging. It's been a while since I towed stuff, and that statement is 100% correct. Weight needs to be low and distributed. All that is true. That's assuming that he was right about weight distribution on the truck, which, as the other poster pointed, he was wrong. Cargo racks are just made to hold stuff like camping gear. Did you see the size of that? That was a construction. That was a construction ladder rack, cargo rack. That was not a little uh, OEM 200, 300 pound rack. I love all the armchair experts on this particular aggregator. Some of the discussions are very thorough and thought out, and others are like, oh, what did I walk into? That's not a work truck. It's ugly and overpriced because it's tech bro garbage. Oh boy. Yeah, incredible that these writers won't talk about environmental costs of mining lithium. Really? You're going to talk about mining lithium and cobalt that you still need to get the sulfur out of your gasoline and diesel. Yeah. It's just like the guy said, you guys are carrying water for that which you profess to be against. Lithium is pumped in as brine in the US, and this includes the Salton Sea in California, which is the largest single deposit of lithium in the world and can supply half of the world's needs. And the Salton Sea source is 40% lithium salt, which is just filtered out from geothermal brine stream, and the steam provides green electricity for the operations. And the lithium is recycled now that we have critical mass with over 90% yields, and the recycled lithium actually works in batteries. It does. And there are over 20 commercial companies providing these services. EVs are lighter than full size pickups. Yes. Uh, and SUVs. And they don't collapse garages. That's a silly talk. All right, then they're getting political. Yeah, exactly. Somebody else points out, it might even be the same guy, is it? No, it's a different guy. Points out that a Tesla Model Y is 4416 pounds, while the Nissan Pathfinder is 4638 pounds. And Saudi Arabia and CNN have gotten into your brain. Uh, TL is dead on with their comment regarding lithium production. Yeah, exactly. Mine significantly heavier than a Tesla Model Y, but still less than a Suburban or any of the other vehicles that people would consider when they buy it. And the new one is lighter. Excuse me. And it's still lighter than a Cybertruck by like 150 pounds. Let's see. Yeah, and then you got a lot of these people. I'll never buy an electric car. Let me check on the multi-stream chat window and drag this way. All right, let's do one more scroll and see what these people are up to. Avoid Tesla, the cars, and the stock. Actually, the stock did really well last week. And after some of the events yesterday, I have no idea how it's going to do this week because Elon gonna Elon and can't keep his mouth shut. Not that he said anything inherently bad, but he did what he does and didn't consider that some of the stuff he says can alienate uh, essentially half of the customers like that. And let's see. If you called the work desk, they would deliver to the work site. Do you want to pay a delivery fee? Well, maybe he's outside of the 30 minutes. And yes, it was. If you looked at the Tesla Texas that Abbott tried to claim, Tesla showed you a version of that rack doing real work. So again, more people talking out of their rear ends. Let's get to the stories that we had planned today. As soon as I find the window that's got that thing in it. Book. There's a notebook. There it is. Why are you all by yourself, notebook? Get back on the screen. Right over yonder. You can do it. Yeah. Thank you. All right, so we're going to use this window, please. And we're going to open up the first story. We've got a little bit of recall talk about this week, but not like a typical recall week. All right, so the first one is a tweet by the Tesla Life. Let's take a look, see what we got. LG Energy Solutions secures IRA compliant battery minerals due to signed agreement with Tesla lithium supplier Liontown. And we talked a little bit about this on uh, one of the shows for this week. I don't know if it was on one of the expresses or on the main show, but this is good news. LG is one of the larger suppliers to Tesla, right behind Panasonic, and getting IRA compliant batteries is super important, assuming that the IRA stays in place. And that's going to depend on how you vote. Elon's new friends don't believe in any of this stuff, so if you like Elon's new friends and you like getting money back on your taxes, get your car this year before they nuke it. Continuing on, because we did talk about those House reps who tried to roll it back on either this show or on his show, and they're not going to win unless something changes. But their whole argument that it was because we might give some of the money to China is just patently false because the IRA requires that we not use China batteries. So, what do you think the whole China car is going to do? It needs to be built here in the North American trade zone, and I don't know if they were just kicking around for to get the news cameras on them, or if they're that blasted ignorant, or hoping that the people they were talking to were. But anyway, Sawyer posts this. He says, "News: Final pricing has been released for Cadillac's all-electric Escalade IQ. The luxury one sport all-wheel drive is $129,990. So see, my car weighs less than this, which is what they compete with. Sport all-wheel, but this is also another EV. But my car weighs less than the non-EV version of it too. So 129,990 all the way up to 150,490. I mean, it looks luxurious. It's got some nice specs: 200 kilowatt hour battery, 200 plus kilowatt hour battery, up to 460 mile range. That part will be really nice. We don't have too many 400 plus mile range EVs out there at the moment. There are some. There is one 500 mile. There were supposed to be two. Let's see. It's got a 55-inch pillar-to-pillar screen, and we're not talking about for the kiddos in the back or the executive that are being chauffeured around. We're talking the dashboard is made of screen, and if it's like any of the other ones that we've seen on the market, it's not a single contiguous screen, but just a smattering of screens, and it just happens to be 55 inches on the diagonal. Let's see, up to 40 speakers. Assuming they do what they always do, and they get either purchase a package from an audiophile company, or they do what Tesla and Honda companies do, and have sound engineers in there doing it themselves. They will sound superb. 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. It's a lot slower than you'd expect for something that is in that same size class as the Model X and the Rivian R1S, but it's got a 200 kilowatt hour pack, so something that is this heavy, I don't know that you want it to go much faster than 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. It's got 750 horsepower, which is again a lot lower than I would expect. The Plaid's got, what, 10, 20? You could do more. I've received a message. What are we talking about here? That was the drugstore. They want me to get a vaccine for something that I don't know that I need. I like vaccines, so I'm all vaccinated up, but vaccinated. We'll see. I'll have to do some research on the one they want me to get. See if it's. I don't think it's appropriate for somebody my age. I think it's like an older person thing. Anyway, 8,000 pounds of towing, which is really stout. It's quite nice. That will match the Rivian, and it will exceed the Model X. And it's not a pickup truck, so it doesn't need to be anything more than really a ride about there. Production starts this October. So let's see, if it can tow 8,000 pounds, assume that you'll be able to go 200 miles between stops, assuming that your trailer isn't horribly poorly aerodynamically shaped, and that you're not speeding like 80 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, like a 75 miles an hour while towing. If you're doing that, it's not going to get anywhere close to something reasonable. But 200 is not bad. I mean, look at how many just brand new EVs that can do roughly 200 miles on their own with just their passengers, let alone hauling a load. Gotta give them ups for that. And it doesn't look bad. I kind of wish that more of these automakers learned they don't need grills or faux grills. Just let your designer flag fly. Who's gonna buy them at those prices? That is cheaper than um, that is cheaper than you could have got my Model X for with all the options when I bought it 6 years ago. So people will buy it at that price. It's not that far off from the gas model. I don't think. Again, with all the options, that one's been all over the map. When I started, you could get one. Oh, sorry, when I started at GM, you could get one for like 50 to 70 easily, and then as I was leaving, the base model with the three cloth bench seats was starting at 89, 85. I was like, what is this? So, and I wasn't at GM store for that long either. It was a slap in the face of how much? Oh, don't think I'll be showing any of these unless somebody asks for it. And I will start with the cloth model with three bench rows because you, you don't want to start somebody on a car that costs 130 when they've got a budget for 80, because you won't be able to get them to give up those features. But I need the leather seat massages and ventilated seats and the three TVs. Well, I can't afford it. All right, I'll go somewhere else, and I'm gonna get a Mazda. Okay. Back on topic. Let's continue on to the next story. We've got a couple of stories about this one here. So let's start with the one from Inside EVs, assuming that their certificate doesn't have issues, and then we'll go to uh, the 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 corresponding tweets. Is it gonna work? Hey, it looks like it's not gonna work. I don't know what it is about Inside EV certificate. Um, the common name is invalid, and eventually, I refresh, and I guess I just hit a different load balancer, and then it works, or something to that effect. Okay, let's try this. Let's add some W's. It doesn't have W's in it, but let's add some W's. I guess I need to submit them an email to tell them, or even a direct message, tell them that they're. Um, you know what? Let me snag a screenshot of this real quick here. Dun, dun, dun. All right, got my screenshot. Now let's try it with the W's. Sometimes that does the trick. Yeah, not only did it work, it took them back out. So the Ford Capri has returned as a tall hatchback, and nobody had anything super. Nobody said anything bad, but nobody had anything like everything was like all this cleverness because of the platform. We'll get into that. The Ford Capri returns as a tall electric hatchback. It has no connection to the classic fastback coupe, although it does kind of try to evoke the shape of a fastback coupe. Uh, and it's secretly a Volkswagen underneath. So I guess even Inside V's did it. But Ford's latest EV is something interesting. Let's look at it again real quick. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I wonder where they put the charge port door on this. Probably wherever Volkswagen did, which would be up front, right? Because the last vehicle we saw that was based on a Volkswagen with the Ford badge on it, it was definitely not just a Volkswagen, but you could definitely tell that it was also a Volkswagen. I don't really want to read the article. That's another pretty picture of it. Excuse me. Let's see if we can get this thing to scroll around to where we can find the charge port. Oh, we're doing this. Whatever. Yep, yep. You can definitely still tell it's got that Volkswagen influence, but it looks like they have restored the ability to have 4 separate window switches. Nifty. I wonder if that's like a phone charging drawer. All right, so it is still a hatchback, which is good. Unlike some cars that look like hatchbacks that are sedan trunks. Oh, that's cute. It doesn't just say Ford or have a Mustang or anything. It says Capri. I like it. All right, let's see if we can't see them charging the thing, and we cannot. So let's go on to the tweet. Let's copy the link, paste it on over. Joel Sapp says, "Will Tesla ever allow this rebadging?" That's a good question because the Toyota RAV4 EV second gen and the Mercedes-Benz A-Class were basically roadsters. uh, but they adjusted them a little bit, and I think if somebody offered them the right money, they would probably do that. Because look at what they did with the supercharger V4s, um, where BP and others are able to buy them and put their name on it instead of Tesla. I I can see it happening, but will anyone swallow their pride enough to make such an offer? I would suspect it would probably be Ford first, if anybody, and that would be good for both manufacturers. One, the legacy will be able to get a good, solid product, and two, Tesla has then got guaranteed customers. They don't have to do any of the last quarter or well, last of the quarter pushes because they can just say, hey, here's 20,000 cars you ordered with a different body on top or slightly massaged skin from like the Model Y or whatever. But it would fulfill the mission. I would like to see it because they won't do it the way that Ford and the others have been doing it so far. They'll do something different about it. I'm here to see what that is. All right, so CarWow says revealed the Ford Capri. The Capri is back. Swoopy version of the Explorer. Okay, the Explorer is the other one we were talking about. That one is also based on the Volkswagen ID5. So it's got a lot of parts shared with the ID5. Interior design is shared with the Explorer, which makes sense because if you already took all the effort to de-Volkswagenize it, mostly, uh, and they're based on the same platform, why not reuse some of that same work for your next style? Basically, it is a different car, but it's mostly a style difference than a functional difference than the other car. Uh, 390 miles of range, which is really nice. I'm going to suggest it probably isn't anywhere close to that because it's a European focused car. We're probably looking uh, at the was it the Netiq? Either way, it's not a very good, useful test in doing anything other than comparing like for like cars because the test is not trying to match the real world in the way that the US EPA test is. Mr. All Electric Car Lunacy says it really, really looks like an ID4, which is fine. There are the more options, the better. The more options to buy an EV, the merrier. Exactly. And I didn't show any of them, but a lot of the if I scroll, you'll probably see some. A lot of the other comparisons are to the Polestar 4. Uh, but you're right; it looks a lot more like the car that it shares with. It looks like the ID4, and uh, I, I I do see the similarities to the Polestar, but I don't see how you could say, yeah, those cars, they actually took the Polestar. They did not. Looks like a Polestar. Capri Sun. What is this? I don't know why that's what. Oh, he sees the that's the Volkswagen that's based on right there. Fair enough. No, no, it's the Volkswagen with the name Capri Sun on it. I get it now. Capri from the Ford. Yes. Uh, it's an affront to the Capri name. They said the same about the Mustang. Ford's taking the name of some of their iconic small cars and is turning them into electric SUVs, hoping to sell more this way. It's the second model that they've already butchered. I would not put it that way. I would say that yes, though, they are putting their names onto SUVs a lot more than you'd expect. Polestar 2 from the side, and the headlights remind me of the Taycan. I'd have preferred this one. You know what? That looks really nice. A nice fan update from the old Capri to the new one. Same thing that most of us said when they did the Mustang Mach E is like, how about also do the base Mustang into a really nice looking EV that keeps the original fans as well, like the Accord Crosstour was the Honda Accord Crosstour. Then it was just the Crosstour. Fans of the four-door sedan, they weren't offended that this other option existed, and fans of the base could keep getting the new base. But with a Pathfinder Armada became the Nissan Armada. Uh, those are just the two that popped into the top of my head. There have been lots of other cars that started out that way, uh, as just a trim on something else, and then they became their own thing. And from what I understand, it just makes the regulations easier. Anyway, let's continue on. We've got a lot more stories to cover before I get off into the car salesman weeds. Ah, yes. Who could have ever seen this coming? US hydrogen car sales are collapsing. And then I am going to adjust the flow of the stories because I should have done it already. I've got something else coming up right after this that 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 is perfectly related. Mr. Electric Lunacy says, I got lectured yesterday that buyers supposedly only want full size pickups and that mid size pickups are a bad idea. I swear availability is playing a huge role in sales. Can't buy what they don't make. Worse than that, there's that. But worse than that, his marketing is really strong in this company as much as people don't want to admit. So when you see all the people looking at the mid-size trucks and mid-size SUVs and saying that doesn't look safe for my family, and doing this vehicle arms race, good job, Eddie. What sticker do you want? Yeah, I saw. What sticker do you want? Pick one. Ba- Baby's wet. Yeah, just stop playing in the water. Just wash your hands like a normal person. What sticker do you want? You want the pony? Yes. Which sticker do you want, baby? Are you gonna color? Okay. You can pick a sticker later if you want. Well, then pick a sticker now. The pony? Okay. There's your pony sticker. This is what she picked. Okay, so as I was saying, we've got this vehicle arms race that's going on where um, they have to get the bigger and bigger vehicle to feel safe or make their family feel that their family is safe, and all of this is because the automakers are taking advantage of the quirk of the way that the vehicle classes and EPA requirements are set up. That uh, to make a vehicle the size of the old Ford Ranger and my old 95 Nissan pickup, it would need to get a reasonable gas mileage now. It would need to be about, what, 40 or 50 miles per gallon. And they're not going to waste any money on hybrid batteries and extra motors. So what are they going to do? They're just going to just plus it up, make it the size of the current Maverick. and that's just barely cutting the edge. And that's why the pickup truck, the full size pickup truck, has been stuck at like 20 miles per gallon, uh, ish, uh, and we're probably still using the raw unadjusted 20 to get there. Uh, no sticker. It's right there in your hand. Oh, you put it on another sticker. What sticker did you put it on? Oh, oh. Uh, they the 50 miles per gallon they need to hit is not what's going to appear on the sticker. It's what they need to get on the test before they apply the adjustment factor. So it's not all of that hard to do. You want to say hi to everybody? Okay, well, come on. Down. You said you wanted up. Say hi, and then we put you down. You don't want to say hi? That's okay. Bye bye. So the 50 miles per gallon they need to hit, or whatever the actual number is not the number on the window sticker. It's significantly easier to achieve. Let's see. Miss Olachikar Lunacy says, I was glad to hear what Farley said about them intending to bring small cars back to the US market. Yes, absolutely. EVs make it so much easier for them to do because unless we start to enact a miles per charge or miles per kilowatt hour standard, then they can do whatever they want because these are zero emissions cars. They can make them small, they can make them gigantic, and it'll be nice to have this flexibility back into the market, especially as uh, our purchasing power is doing this thing. So, yeah, I think we might start to see more small pickups start to appear as we get them to get the public back off of this rolling street tank situation. What do you do? No, okay. Uh, so U.S. hydrogen car sales are collapsing. There was already a tiny fraction in the market last quarter, and then the sales dropped 91%. It's really hot in here. Let me check something real quick. I got the fan on. Let me turn the fan up. And AC is running, but it's not running away. Oh, I see. It's 94 degrees on the outside of the house. And there's 94 Fred, as Mark would tell us. It bumps us up from low to medium. I'm sure the rest of the place is fine without this extra. Let me also make sure that that other server is turned off. But there's no reason for the backup server to be on if we're not backing up. No light because it's hot. Why do you want me to have another light? I don't like that it's spinning like that. It might actually be on. I can check it by the solar load because only this room is on solar right now. 481 watts. It would be right up around 600 watts if all the servers were on. So I can switch that back without waiting for it to resolve. Go back to you guys in the YouTube land. All right, so yeah, the hydrogen sales aren't doing great. They dropped 91%. Not that they were all that high to begin with, but that's a large number. In the second quarter of 2024, brought a significant decrease in hydrogen fuel cell sales in the US. Where's the pill? That's right here. Oh, you want it on? Why do you keep feeding the pad? It doesn't want to eat your food, baby. Check your volume here. Ooh, not louder. Do you want to play games or watch a video? There you go. Right, but by that we mean California, where the series model, produced models are available. Uh, yeah, because you've got one Hyundai and one Toyota that you can buy. Let's see what we're looking at here. Uh, when it comes to FCVs, there are only two: the Toyota Mirai and the Hyundai Nexo. The Mirai had 73 sales in Q2, down 93% year over year, and the Hyundai Nexo accounted for 26 units in Q2, down 35% year over year. In the second half of the year, Honda will rejoin. Oh, really? Are you serious, Honda? No! No! Why are you doing this? Honda will come back with the 2025 CRV EFC EV. We'll get to something in just a moment. Uh, this thing, if they don't do the same deal like Toyota, giving away $15,000 of free fuel and a limited lease that you can turn in to be done with the garbage, um, this isn't going to do well. It's going to waste so much money that they could have put into real EVs. The only good thing about this is that a fuel cell car is still an EV. It's just got extra steps. They could have said they were going to do a hydrogen combustor, which is actually fairly polluting when you consider how they work. Um, Honda. So you can tell I didn't actually read the article. But I just saw that Honda's in there doing this foolishness. So anyway, it will only be available for lease and on a limited scale, north of 300 units per year. They're going to be giving them away. If Hyundai is doing 27 and a quarter, how are you going to get 300 in a year? What? What? No chicken? No bar? No chicken? They need to be careful, don't they? Mm. Telling me something about this cartoon. I don't see what's going on in there. Um, yeah, no bar? No, no, no. I don't know why no. You're watching it, not me. Oh, so 300 in a year. And what did Toyota do? Toyota did 73 and a quarter. 73 times 4. Okay, you can probably sell 8 more than Toyota did at this rate, but all right, after we get done with the shock and awe of this, we're going to go on to why I think, beyond the physics, beyond the fact that this chains you to a very limited range, uh, we'll get to what happens when your fuel card runs out, or if your dealer doesn't file the paperwork correctly, and you don't get your $15,000 of um, gas card. Yeah, it's a gas. It's a literal hydrogen gas that they compress, and there must have been some other just shenanery going on that why the video I'm about to show you went the way it did. Um, because if you stole $15,000 from me on a car purchase, I would not keep the car purchase. I don't know why there's no baby. Baby what? They left the baby? Oh, took off the seatbelt. That's not good. Yeah, yeah, that baby does smell. It's the weirdest cartoon I've seen. I don't know. Where's the baby? You tell me he's the baby? Well, then he was in the car the whole time. Yes. Okay. Oh. Yeah. So if somebody had stole $15,000 from me in a car deal, I would make sure that that car deal got reversed. But he's a younger person, so perhaps there was a little bit of inexperience with knowing what you can do to protect yourself from an unscrupulous car dealer. The baby's right there. That baby's being bad. It's 300 units per year. 99 for Q2 year-over-year change, down 91%. Yes, baby. Hydrogen sales reported by the manufacturers in Q2 of 2024. The Mirai was 73, and the Nexo was 26. Baby, that's the doctor. Yeah, she wants to share it with me, and I don't know what we're looking at. It's one really wicked, crazy cartoon. All right, here we go for the year. Q1 and Q2, the total is 322 between the two manufacturers, down 82%. Uh, the Toyota Mirai is at 245, down 86%, and the Hyundai Nexo is at 77, down 27%. For reference, in 2023, 2978 new hydrogen cars were sold, and the numbers were updated compared to the previous report, some 10% more than 2022. Yes, baby. Watch the whole video, then tell me about it, okay? Thank you. Oh, Honda. All right, so now let's look at this guy who got flim-flammed on his hydrogen car purchase, and then we'll go back to some cool stuff. Mm. Let's start with this version of the tweet that I retweeted, posted, whatever. All right, so what we're looking at here is, I'm gonna turn the audio on. I don't know if you can hear it or not, so I will talk over it. Before we get started on it, let's pause it. So I put on my post, but this is just part of the reason why we keep saying that hydrogen isn't going to work for personal transportation anytime soon. The longer they drag their feet on all their promises, and the better batteries keep getting. There's no ant. That's a really, really bad doctor. She hurt herself being a doctor. Watch the video and then tell me about it, okay? Um, so this is just part of the reason we keep saying hydrogen isn't going to work for personal transportation anytime soon. The longer they drag their feet on all their promises, the better batteries keep getting. Pretty soon, hydrogen will only be good for high heat industrial applications. A manufacturer recently hit the watt hours per kilogram needed for economical air travel, which further underscores the advancements in battery technology. I don't know. I'm not watching the video. You're watching the video. You tell me about it. No, no, no. No, no, no. 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 Why is he not sharing? He's trying to teach you that you need to share by showing you what happens when you don't share. Yeah. See, when you don't share, you hurt people's feelings, or they hurt yours. Mm-hmm. Why not afraid? What? There's no reason to be afraid. Why not afraid? I don't know why. Oh, the airplane. It looks like it's made of metal. Yes, baby. And the little kid in the video is quite a brat and is not sharing. Do you want to talk with me? So, yeah, he needs to share, baby. That's right. Yes, baby. I don't know why he's not sharing, baby. You'll have to ask him. So, I'm talking, baby. So, the Gary Marks says this poor guy bought a Toyota Mirai and found out that the hydrogen found out the hydrogen myth firsthand. Hydrogen scam, hydrogen fuel. Mr. Olich Carlunacy says that feeling when you'd rather buy an ocean than a Mirai. Hydrogen. I agree. And in fact, I recently added an eBay search for Fiskars to see if I can't find one that's like 10 grand, because then I'd give it. Let's go. Because then even if they managed to completely brick the car, then I could take it apart for parts and still come ahead. I don't think they're gonna brick the car. So if you've got an Ocean, I mean, at this point you already have it, so just let it ride. Hey, hey. Yes. You want to sit here and talk to the people with me? No. Why not? Don't spin me. Oh, that that waffle was a lot tougher than I thought it was. So that would be like 2 or 3 chews when I was done. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna narrate this. I'm gonna turn the sound on in case you can't hear it, but I'm gonna narrate it just in case you can't. So you got a Mariah in March. So he bought it in March. He says the dealership he bought it from screwed him over, so now he has to pay for the fuel. Um, the there are real damages there, and depending on what the situation is, I suggest this young man get an attorney and and ask them what do you think you can do to get me back my $15,000 of fuel card that these people did not deliver to me through some sort of negligence. And I bet that they could get him his $15,000 plus a little extra something for his troubles. Basically, to make sure that the attorney gets paid and that his $15,000 doesn't just disappear again, but now into the legal system rather than into his gas tank. His gas tanks. Because the Mariah has what, 6 tanks? They expire after what, 10 years? You got to get new ones. So anyway, for some reason he didn't get his gas card, so he's paying out of pocket. So now he's going to show us how he fuels up his car. He's a little bit slower at this than the time that I filled up a hydrogen car, but mine was during a hydrogen demo drive, so the station had proper pressures. They had the fuel trucked in, not the fuel, but they had the gas trucked in from Canada, and I guess they had us spaced far enough apart that the nozzles weren't frozen, and we were two handing it rather than holding a camera and trying to do this one handed. So why what? You want this open? You want Daddy open this? Okay. She said open with her whole mouth open the whole time. She used to say open with some sort of closed mouth word thing. Here you go. Um, yeah. So it was a lot faster for me. Not necessarily in time of fill, but in connection and disconnection process. And the propane cars work the same way. They have a similar nozzle, and I don't think that they freeze to the cars though. Anyway, continuing on. So he pulled up to the station, get his hydrogen. It said to be available in 10 minutes, and now it says no. This is the cheapest station that he can find using, I'm assuming, like Gas Buddy or just being in his range and him knowing where the stations are. I think there's like 30 stations, so it's not like it's not like there's a lot of them to pick from, and like in the state, and there's a few in Canada as well. And he's explaining basically that you got to wait for it to recharge. It's got to build the pressure back up to be able to dispense it to his car. You've got a two pressure levels to pick from. That's what would be the grades on a regular gas pump, and but it's apparently so low it can't even let him pick the low pressure. So he's got to wait, and then you pick the high pressure. So the cheapest that he could find is $30 per kilogram, 29.95 cents per kilogram. Where's the bear? Yeah, where's the bear? You can have a bear today. I don't know. Bring it. Bring the bear, and I'll let you have one. It was here, and then you moved it. You went to tell mommy I wouldn't give you a bear. So check in the living room. Her daily vitamins are shaped like gummy bears. Your pad is right there. The bear's not in your pad. Look, you want the bear video? There you go. You can look for the bear video from there. I don't know what it looks like. Um, yeah. So the last time we talked about hydrogen prices, we got a little snapshot. We were told $36 a kilogram, and I assume that must still be kind of good if he had to hunt around to find this one at 29 and 95. So $30 a kilogram. Let's continue on. He says he's not going to do a full fill. He's only going to kind of get to $90 and click on. I don't know if he said this yet. It's probably later in the video. All right, so $29 a kilogram. A full fill for him is 5 kilograms. What? So after 10 minutes, the station says welcome. It's ready to dispense. Let's go for another video. So you waited 10 minutes, and now it's ready to sell him some fuel. Mr. All Electric Car Lunacy says, if Toyota had tried this hard with a car like the BZ4X around the time that the Mirai came out, they would have built such a following. Sure, a Leaf-like following, but one nonetheless. I think it would be even better than this because Toyota does make their cars better year over year. Okay, not every year, not like Tesla does, but in between all the little versions they get, like the mid cycle refreshes and then the full refreshes. If they had started when the Leaf came out with something like the Busy Forks, it would be probably as compelling as the ID4 is today, if not better. Because we're talking about Toyota volume right there. They would be able to make some stuff happen. It wouldn't necessarily be a fun car to drive because it's still a Toyota, but not that there are no fun Toyotas, but most Toyotas are not fun to drive. Uh, it would be acceptable. Like, and look at how many customers that were into the Prius that they would not have lost um, to Chevrolet, to who else was doing e-revs? Ford, to I guess that was about it for the e-revs. To Nissan on the Leaf because some people were ready to make the switch. And then then at the next wave, when full plug-in EVs didn't cost $150,000 like the Tesla Roadster, um, when normal people could start to buy EVs that were not compromise mobiles like the first Leaf was. I'm not saying that the first Leaf wasn't great for the people who it was great for, but you were having to do mental math and figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you don't need. I'm not saying it wasn't a comfortable, luxurious car, but I was saying that I needed the full battery to do my commute at the time, and thankfully I didn't do it because in the environment I was doing that commute in, I would have had significant battery degradation and would have been unable to make it to work for months on end. Potato, yes. A green potato? Don't eat green potatoes. Watching these animated potatoes, they're getting ready to make French fries. Don't play with matches. Why? Because you burned the house down. Yeah. And so if they had made a reasonable, like even if they'd done the Leaf themselves, but with active cooling, they would have done it right. And instead, they wasted billions of dollars in the Mirai program. I don't know where the baby is, baby. You tell me where the baby is, please. Is that the baby? Yeah, baby. She's got a lot of energy today. So anyway, let's continue on with his Mirai, and I think this is just because he's doing it one-handed. Like if he had two hands, that would be so much quicker. The first time I watched it, I assumed that it was because it was kind of still frozen and it wasn't going on there. But now that I'm seeing him try to do it one hand while recording, that is probably the problem. So he picks his pressure, which is 70. He says he's the technician at the station, so he might not get a full fill, even if he wants it. So now he's waiting for it to fill up. $70 for half a tank. All right, so let's go back. Um, oh, so for just over half a tank, he got $91.11 as his bill for 3.042 kilograms. What? You sleepy? You want to sit up here with me? No. All right, so let's see. He said he's got a 5 kilogram tank, which is equivalent to 5 actual gallons of gasoline. So let's see. 5 times 29.99. So it would cost him $149.95 to fill up from zero. That's like suburban dual tanks sort of situation right there. Anyway, so he spent his $91 for his just over half a tank, and let's see what kind of range he gets with this. He turns it on. All right, so then his fuel estimator tells him that he can go 176 miles on his $91. 176. No shopping. No shopping. Eat. No shopping. Eat baby Tato. Why not eat the potatoes? Mommy's got potatoes in there. She made us French fries. Yeah, wait for her to get out of the shower, and then she'll bring you food. Huh? Okay. Oh no, what? Baby did what? Yeah, I'm talking to baby now. Thank you. Oh, I can't eat right now because I'm talking. So if I talk and my mouth is full of almonds, then they won't understand me. There you go. So 176 miles for $91. What I was thinking about doing was figuring out what the nearest supercharger costs, but I was trying to figure out how to do that because I don't pay for supercharging, so I don't know how to get the price. So let me try using their app and picking a supercharger and seeing if it tells me the price. The car is charging. It must have cabin overheat protection must have really. Oh shoot! Cabin overheat protection is not doing jack. It's 137 inside the car. We just drove it yesterday, so Oh, you know what though? We finished the drive before midnight, so it's now past 12 hours. So cabin overheat has disabled itself. 137. All right, so I need not charge stats, but charging. I don't want to stop charging. Let's do location, charging. Yeah, let's pick that one. It's not the closest one, but it's one that they think that I would need. So 37 cents per kilowatt hour. So let's say that my car didn't have degradation, and let's do 0.37 times 100 usable. Oops. I have something in front of the decimal, which I should not. There we go. So at this station, at 37 cents a kilowatt hour at this time of day, it would have cost me $37 to fill this. I should just move the decimal point. I've got a 100 kilowatt hour pack. Anyway, $37 to fill up the tank to charge it fully from zero. And I could do when it was new, I could do 295 miles on a charge, and a new Model X can do 300 and change miles on that same, actually less charge on that same size battery pack. So 37 for 300 miles and change versus $91 for 170 miles and change. So he's getting a raw deal here. Maybe come back door. What? What? Why would you run? Run door. I don't know. Ask him. Why are you running? Looks like he's scared of Halloween. She loves Halloween videos. We don't do Halloween. What? What? Hello. Hmm. Don't be scared. It's just a video. So it's a raw deal. And this is why you see people park these things once they run out of their free fuel. Just done with this. And then the video ends. You get the TikTok ending sound. Go Electric says, "Is this like one of those videos that try to make it seem like it's hard to charge a Tesla?" The only reason I say that is because when he fueled the car, he obviously skipped a step to exaggerate the pump not latching. And I said that I figured it was either frozen or he wasn't used to doing it one-handed, and that the H2, the hydrogen that I filled up, was pretty easy. Not as easy as gas or EV because of having to do the two-handed latch thing. It was not a simple, nice little twist like that. There was actually a lever with like a hard plastic ball on the end that you had to turn over. Same for the LPG I filled up. Exact same mechanism. So you can tell how long ago hydrogen was on this coast, and that I was able to experience filling one up myself. And you wonder why it's hard to sell them, and why you need $15,000 in extra incentives to make them move. So let's go on to how healthy is the stream? Stream's unhealthy. Let's go to. Oh wait, there's one more. One more on this hydrogen. Sorry, two more on this hydrogen guy, and then we will go on to our next topic. So this might be the original one that I quoted. Yeah, that's the original one I quoted. In case you missed it, analysis is now almost 14 times more expensive to drive a Toyota hydrogen car in California than a comparable Tesla EV. I mean, but that is like super easy. Like compare it to how much more expensive it is to drive a fuel cell car than it is to drive a gas car, and then compare it to a Tesla. The state's largest hydrogen fuel supplier hiked its pump rate to $36 per kilogram across all 37 of its filling stations. That's why this young man had to hunt around to find a station that was cheap enough. Musk says hydrogen is so dumb for cars. The one that people used to think was Musk alt said that, and people still ask me if hydrogen is the future, and why in kilograms United States can't handle this. We can do metric. We just don't want to do metric because inertia and reasons, and they don't know that our imperial measurements are actually backed by metric uh, standards. It's like your propane tank for your barbecue is measured by mass. It's a big truck. I don't know why. Uh, it's 13:30 in Toronto. So apparently Toronto. Wait, are you saying the time, or are you saying the 13.30 per kilogram? Joel Sapp says freedom units. Exactly. But our freedom units are measured in metric now. Like when you look up the definition of a foot, it's measured in however many. They don't go back to the this is how far light travels in a second because that's what they did for the meter. So they say a foot is this many meters. Ah, there she is. You want to go with mommy? Oh, bath time. Now you're really be out of my hair for at least 10 minutes. Here, pause this and go take a bath. Calm down, yes. Enjoy your bath, baby. All right, let's see. Only because hydrogen isn't mainstream yet. Oh, yeah, that's what you think it is? It's not mainstream because it's not affordable to do that. People are shuttering stations, not opening them. Uh, no battery replacements. Yeah, just tank replacements. And a quick fill up. You got to give them that. It is a quick fill up when it's at pressure and ready. Uh, Hydrogen isn't that hard to make. Not hard, but it's not economical. As demand picks up, there will be more suppliers and prices will go down. If demand picks up. No, there's no efficient way to produce clean hydrogen. Yeah, that part right there, because you can do it a lot easier if you make it from natural gas, but then their whole scam is exposed because it's not at all cleaner, greener if it comes from methane. Da, 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 da. Current hydrogen fuel is petrochemical byproduct from from methane production. Uh, there's a very efficient way it can be produced using hydrolysis. Hydrolysis is not efficient. It can be free, but it's not efficient from solar, and it can be produced from aluminum and water as well. Even rusty iron in water produces it. I make it all day long, every day. It's not that easy at scale, and the purity required, that part right there, the purity required for proper refinement, even in desalination projects overseas, is very costly endeavors. Hydrogen storage and transportation is another issue with the tanks at pressure. Joel says, I'm an engineer and would prefer metric, but slowly can translate between the two. I'm wondering if she will grow up with more metric than I grew up with. Um, you notice now that cars are not measured in cubic inches, they're measured in liters and kilowatts. um, well, I guess that would be horsepower still for some of them, but kilowatts for the electric car and kilowatts for it's not really displacement anymore at that point, but for the power output. The we're slowly getting there. Like every new concept is measured in standard units, thankfully. It's not necessarily produced for storage. It can be produced on the yeah, right. How quickly do you think you can get hydrogen out of any of the methods used today? No refinement would be needed, and I would never recommend storing it. See, as the guy just said, you need a certain purity of it, and if you're making it on site without refinement, then you won't have the purity you need. Hydrogen, in its best theoretical case, will always be 3 to 6 times more expensive than the power for batteries for putting it in batteries. Yeah, I mean, if you're making it with electricity, just put the electricity in the battery and roll on. Especially as we get newer and faster charging, we've got now batteries at scale or ready to be at scale that can give you an 80% charge in 10 minutes. Now all we need is for the price on those to come down. look at the just not generic, but just run of the mill batteries we have today uh, at a reasonable price. Uh, Most of today's EVs, assuming that they haven't capped them with just really crummy cables between the charge port and the battery pack, they can charge 80% in what, 15 to 20 minutes, assuming that they are at the right voltage station. I'm talking 350 kilowatts, 250 kilowatts. You're not going to get hydrogen cheap enough before we get the megawatt charging for that to be. It's not going to happen. It needs to be stored at stations. Again, it's not that easy to produce as you claim. It takes more energy for hydrolysis to produce hydrogen than interruptions by apps. Than you get from the hydrogen itself. Might as well just use the solar directly. This guy says, believe what you want, but I produce hydrogen all day long using nothing more than scrap aluminum and water with wood ash. Yeah, but that's not pure enough to run in a car at high pressure. This trip page, he says, I find it hard to believe anyone would buy that car without fully understanding the lack of filling stations in North America, all 29 of them. Um, I think it's about the okay, fuel card he didn't get with his car. My H2 driving friend showed the math. Works for him and for long trips. He runs his old Prius. Although he said, if he ran out of the fuel card for some reason, he would either do the early turn in on his lease or he would just park that bad boy until the lease ran out, and then he would he wouldn't be going back hydrogen if the new one didn't come with free fuel. He likes all the features and the luxury and the blah blah blah. It's basically a Toyota's version of a Tesla level equipment. All right, one more of the hydrogen situation, and then we'll go back to our regularly scheduled order. Oh, I see what happened there. I copied it in a browser and copied it somewhere else at the same time. So let's go back on track. All right, so we last talked about hydrogen sales collapsing. Now let's talk about another state that has done the right thing, allowing you to fight HOA nonsense. So the last time we talked about this was when Virginia, well, I guess it wasn't the last time, but one of the more recent times we talked about it was when Virginia allowed you to get solar without having to do all of the HOA dance. They cannot deny you, uh, and they can't charge you unreasonable fees. If there's a process, you still have to do the application, but if they say no, you can still do it anyway. um, so in this case now, Michigan is the next state to give you a right to solar and to tell your HOA to shove it when they start up with their nonsense about how it's ugly and you didn't pay us enough fees and blah blah blah. And the problem, aside from that the HOAs have governmental level controls over people's lives, is that it's really hard to get new housing these days without one, because all new developments in this country are attached to one, which means that you got to find an old development or some serious land that you can build a house on by yourself. Housing is messed up in this continent. It's bad here in the States. It's worse in Canada. And then I assume it's not very nice in Mexico either, depending on where you want to live. So anyway, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has signed in a new law to Michigan, ensuring Michigan homeowners can install a variety of energy efficiency improvements on their home, including EV chargers and solar panels and heat pumps and more. Many homeowners are aware of the often draconian measures that can sometimes be imposed by homeowner associations or HOAs in the name of preserving the nature of a community. Yeah, that's the excuse they always give. An HOA might go beyond a relatively reasonable idea of ensuring that the houses do not fall into disrepair and instead start limiting entirely reasonable and unintrusive things like EV chargers or other efficiency improvements. You guys might remember the story we talked about of the guy who was getting massive fines for parking his Rivian in his driveway because it didn't fit in the little tiny garage, and they called it a work truck, as if it was like a contractor vehicle, like we saw that Cybertruck being loaded up at the hardware store with a big company name emblazoned on the side. That's how they'd classify it to his Rivian, even though it was a personal truck. Same as the neighbor's SUV that they were not complaining about. Same as the other neighbor's Prius that they were not complaining about. The Rivian is a work truck. You can't have that here. Uh, what crap is that? Uh, this is to head that crap off. Miss Aldrich Lunacy says hydrogen would have the same troubles after hurricane at gas stations do: lines and waiting for resupply, needing electricity to run the pumps. I prefer worse, yeah, worse because it's a lot more electrically intensive to have a hydrogen station operate than it is to have a gas station operate on electric pumps. And we don't have any more of those gravity fed pumps anymore. I prefer to have energy source agnostic EV. Yeah, exactly. You can charge up before the storm. You can run out some solar panels if you're sticking around, or say it's like a freak storm, like it juked left instead of juking right, and and then it hits you at the last minute, and you're stuck in town. Uh, that sort of thing. Yeah, you have so many more opportunities to add more miles to an EV than there are to add miles to uh, a, a car where you have to go to a place to recharge your miles, aka a gas station, hydrogen station, etc., etc. Uh, Folks think that my old Volt would have been better to keep, but let's be real, there are gasoline generators all over if it comes to that. Yeah, my problem with my Volt was that it was always turning on the generator like a mile from home. It's like just keep it off, chill out. And it wasn't even that. It was that it would burn 3 tablespoons of gas for no reason. Like it wasn't warm enough that it would actually tie it in with the direct drive or dumping it into the battery. It just sitting there warming up for no reason. Come on, wasting my money, polluting the environment. Yeah, but I still think that the RAM charger is a good compromise for somebody who's going to be towing long distance. Joel says, I have a friend who was stuck in a hotel that had no power trying to get to his house in Houston because all the gas stations didn't have power. Exactly. So the way I do it is as soon as there is a chance of a storm coming our way, even if it's not headed our way, and there's no evacuation order, I immediately make sure that the charge limit is set to give us enough to get out of the state, or at least depending on what state I'm in at the time, at least get us out of the immediate path so that we can supercharge and keep on going. Because once you're elsewhere in the country, the disaster doesn't really affect you. And most of the time, I end up not needing it. But say it's not headed directly our way, but it could change. Uh, I might need the air conditioner in the car. I might want to use the charge in the car for something else. But say we need to deal with an emergency around town while there's an outage. Now I've got enough energy to run around town for days on end. Obviously, at that point, I'll turn off cabin overheat. I'll turn off Sentry, and just make sure that it's as inert as possible. See, in some cases, it's gotten bad enough to require legislation, and Michigan just became the latest state to act. The law is called the Homeowners Energy Policy Act, and it passed through Michigan State House by a party line vote, with Democrats supporting and Republicans opposing the measure that supports the freedom of homeowners to make energy efficiency improvements on their property. Whitmer signed it on Monday, and it'll go into effect in 90 days. Yeah, it'd be good if Tesla did switch your car to charged 100% if a storm is coming. As an option, yeah. Because what if you have two Teslas and you're gonna leave one behind? That one just got extra wear and tear on the battery for nothing. Or say you're new to Tesla and you're gonna take your gas car on your evacuation because you don't know better yet. Or say you were nowhere near home, you're already out on vacation or a work trip or something, and you're not coming home into the disaster. And now again, the car is sitting there for weeks at 100%. So I'd like it as a setting, but not just a setting, but one that you can change in the app, because you might normally have it one way and then still be out on a trip or vacation or whatever, and then the car fills up and then holds it there. Ugh. Yeah, exactly, like they do for Powerwall Stormwatch. But yeah, there you go. Something like, how many miles do you need to do an evacuation? Okay, if your charge level is set below that, or you're on time of use charge, and we get a storm watch, um, for natural disaster style storm watch, we will go ahead and we will push you to your evacuation range. Uh, be that 90%, be that 100%, be that 76% if you're one of those people who leaves the car at 50 because you work from home and don't go anywhere or something like that. Yeah, yeah, that would be fun. I'd like that. So there we go. You don't have to worry about in 3 more months. You don't have to worry about HOAs getting in your quick, in Michigan if you want to add solar batteries or a heat pump or an EV charger. Although, if it's not a single family dwelling, say you have a townhouse or a condo, I'm sure that you need to look a little closer if there's common property. But if it's not common property, it sounds like you are good to go in 90 days. Obviously, as a Michigander, you want to read that and possibly consult with an attorney if you need to, before you act, so that they cannot harass you without you saying pound sand, uh, holding up a document that says nah, nah. The law covers a large number of energy-saving improvements from as simple as a clothesline. See, that one I have a problem with right now. We can't have a clothesline at this place. It's against the HOA, as if people are going to be just airing their underwear in their front yards. No, they're going to put up a clothesline in their backyard, and it's not allowed. Or as high tech as solar panels and heat pumps. Each improvement listed in the law has been denied by at least one HOA within the state prior to it being included in the list. Excellent. So they can't even say this is craziness. No, uh, the Tall Pine Sands did it in 2007, and the Rocky Shoreville did this one in 2022. Energy saving or modification, improvement or modification would include, but is not limited to, a clothesline, air source heat pumps, ground source heat pumps. Oh, I had a friend who was talking to me about ground source heat pumps the other day, and although she is not in an HOA, her last place would have blocked having a ground source heat pump, just in general. Insulation. I didn't realize. Wow, there are people blocking insulation. That sucks. Rain barrels. I can see them doing that. Reflective roofing. Yeah, they would do that in a heartbeat. Energy efficient appliances. What? Hopefully they're outdoor appliances, because if you're trying to reach into my home and tell me I can't change my refrigerator out, we're going to have a knockdown drag out. Solar water heaters. They look like solar panels. They were already having trouble with solar panels. Electric vehicle supply equipment. We talked about that one numerous times. Energy efficient windows. There are ones that get on that, because your windows don't look like my windows. Energy efficient insulation materials. This one I don't get either. That's inside your walls. Good on you, Michigan. Get rid of that nonsense. And while we're at it, I don't mind the concept of an HOA, but they have too much power. They have way too much power. It's ridiculous. They have more power than your local government over what goes on with you. Michigan joins a number of other states with similar rules, though not all of them are quite as sweeping. Yeah. California first passed the Solar Rights Act way back in 1978, and there are a number of other states with similar laws, though each have their own specifics. There are several other states with right to charge policies ensuring that homeowners can install EV chargers, a list which Michigan joins with this new law. Some of the states also require that renters be allowed to install chargers. Really? That is cool. And also, hopefully, it says by a qualified electrician. So if somebody added a different charger to my house, I would have a problem with it. Um, but I have a Tesla charger just sitting there for my tenants to use at their leisure with the free solar. You there's something in my water. That's gross. It didn't come from me. Uh, some of these states all for renters. Electric says this is great news, and it's unfortunate that such a sweeping law didn't include assurances that renters would be able to install EV chargers. Not a giant landlord, but I would want them to be able to charge their car, but I would want more say in how the installation of the hardware is going. And then after they poke out the giant holes in my wall, I would be inclined to want the improvement to stay. Um, I don't know with that one, but obviously, if that was law here, then I'd know the limitations. And at this point, though, now that everybody has joined Nax, I don't got to worry about them taking mine out and putting a different one in because they got an 80 amp charger right there. Let's see. Among a huge number of perceived problems with EVs, which are not actual problems, one actual real problem is the comparatively difficulty of charging for apartment dwellers. Yes, I agree. To those who live in single-family households through SAE's new NACS carry-along cable certification. We were talking about that on the Tesla Life show as well. Take a look at that. You'll enjoy that show. I believe it's Monday's show. One of my 3D print designs just got updated. I'll read that later. Michigan's law didn't go as far as to do that, but while the state took baby step towards right to charge by at least stopping HOAs from restricting the installation of chargers, it could have and should have gone further. Yes, but you can't criticize too hard when they just said it passed on party lines. It seems that was probably a case of that was the best compromise they could get. Politics is not dating; it's a bus. You wanna get on the bus that's gonna drop you off closest to your house or closest to work. You don't want to keep waiting at the bus stop till you find a bus that's gonna take you directly home or drop you in the parking garage at work. It's not it just doesn't work that way. Even in places that have better systems like rank choice or whatever, you're still not going to find one that's perfect. You're going to find one that's better than the other, but maybe not be as popular. So you could pick that one, and then if it doesn't work, it rolls down. That's pretty cool. But here, just pick the one that's going to get you closest to your house uh, from the jump. Regardless of that, it's a good law that can hopefully become a model for other states right now. NIMBYs be damned. Uh, Also, now that that's there, they can extend it. They can say, "Hey, we found a deficiency in the existing law. Let's add on to this." Or you can find something that wasn't already explicitly covered, and then you can say, take it through the court system, and then the judge can say, "Yeah, no, that clearly is a home energy improvement device like a clothesline or solar panel. It should be allowed." And then it's just included. Versus starting from the scratch. It's not. Don't complain too hard. Their top comment was by Artie Link. The law called the Homeowners Energy Policy Act, and it passed through Michigan's House by party line vote, with Democrats supporting and Republicans opposing the measure that secures the freedom of homeowners to make energy efficiency improvements to their own property. Never ceases to amaze me that the party of my freedoms are paramount, and the government shouldn't tell me what to do with my property, never fails to completely abandon those sacred tenets. in a heartbeat the second of a good culture war. Uh, second of a good culture war, opportunity presents itself, or if they need to make points with their rich donors. Dot dot dot. I gotta get that person up, dude. As soon as we get there. These home energy efficiency improvements are no brainer for so many homeowners, especially with ample government incentives available to help pay for installations of heat insulation. I skipped a line. Heat pumps, solar panels, and so on. Reducing the amount of friction and red tape for installation can only be a good thing here. Saving homeowners money, reducing energy use, which benefits all of us. So, of course, like any good idea that also enhances personal freedoms, Republicans voted against it. Uh, and the absolute best thing, getting to tell your HOA to stuff it. Having the law on your side. Yes. All right, where's that first comment so I can give it an update? Make sure that was the whole comment. Yep. Let's give it up, dude. These are the same people who don't have a "Don't Tread on Me" flag on their property, except in their HOA. It's not allowed. You can have one American flag and one state flag. That's it. No snip on my snick. Mm. Oh, this person says I like the law and I am a Republican. Sweet. That's the problem with this part is that the since there are only two, they're so wide that you have the folks that are the actual personal freedoms, and then you have the folks that are no EVs, no mess with my gas and oil, and they're in the same bunch, and that messes things up. There should be more of a gradient to allow this thing to happen. And our, being the oldest democracy still running on the planet, we have not corrected that, and so the others that kind of looked at us and said, "Oh, we like these things, and we're going to do this better." They did, and we said, "Oh, don't change, don't change Jack." I wonder what would have happened if Jefferson had received those metric. What do you call them? The standards. Yeah, that's what they call it, the standards. If Jefferson had received the standards instead of them being pirated away, would we already be metric? Would we look more like Europe? Timothy, greetings. Good to see you. Let me check the multi-stream chat real quick before I move on. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. I am. Anders says, "Good evening from X.com." Good evening, Anders. Good to see you. All right. So, Colorado has a similar. Oh wait, I was talking about this guy. As I was saying that the parties are bigger than the R and D, I, or whatever garbage we have that doesn't stand a chance except for spoiling. Um, I like the law, and I am a Republican. Installing these items on your home do not hurt the community or the value of their property. We have the same type of law in Texas now that the HOA is promoting the idea of renewable energy. Well, there you go. I like the law, and I'm a Republican in such an inconvenient position these days when there's no room for individual representatives to deviate from the politics of the party. That's what I was just saying about having, we need more gradients. You can like a position all you want, but the person you vote for will never be able to agree with you when it matters unless a certain someone in Florida makes that decision. Yeah. Which is why I was surprised when DeSantis protected solar that one time, and was not surprised with whatever we were talking about last week when DeSantis made it impossible. I have a lot of trouble understanding the hurting property value argument in many cases. Yeah, like in any sane um, property market, they would realize that, hey, you just gave me free electricity. I will pay more for that house. In fact, I got my initial panels for free because this market felt that the panels were hurting the value. And part of that was at the time I bought this house, the not the PPAs, but the other ones. I guess they were PPAs. No, it wasn't. The leases where somebody's just up on your roof forever. That was how the solar was getting sold in the area, and they thought that this was that, rather than asking and seeing that they were just part of the house. So I got a steal of a deal. Anyway, I heard the property value argument in many cases. I'm making these improvements for many reasons, and one of them is that it increases my property value. So I fail to see how it can negatively impact your property value. Well, no, yours is worth more, and they will not pay as much for the other one anymore because yours is there. Obviously, some exceptions, but I'd argue those prove the rule. Yeah. Unfortunately, we live in an era that if a law is from the Democrats, Republicans are against it by default, and vice versa. Well, half of that's true. Fluffy Cat says, well, the Dems wanted to pass the bipartisan border security bills that the Republicans were obviously okay with. Now that ours don't want it, so false equivalence. Political parties are not the same. There you go. Republicans, of course, co-authors of the bill, just not just silent partners. Heavily focused on what they wanted. Right, but then they still voted against it, even though they helped write it. So, what's your point? Right? You're making my point. During George W. tenure and Trump tenure, many laws were passed with 0 Democrat votes. Yes, because they were voting against it. Anyway, before we get too many in politics, Colorado, I guess it is politics. We're talking about HOAs and laws here. Colorado had similar. We bought our house in 2019, ordered solar the day we closed. I sent the architectural request, which the state law basically made pro forma. Yeah, and that's what just happened in Michigan, to the HOA committee. 4 weeks later, I hadn't heard back. I reached out and was told that because there are still 2 houses that weren't built, the original developer still had a single vote that could hold up the whole process. And he was sitting on it. I wrote him a letter copying the HOA with a copy of the state law attached and politely told him that he'd had long enough, and if he didn't give me a decision within a week, I was moving forward anyway. Boom! That's the way to do it. And that's what I love about these laws. No more of this just petty crap. It's getting really warm in here. What's going on? It's now 97 outside. The AC hasn't stopped running. The rest of the house is sitting firmly where I left it. Maybe I should close this window. I mean, not close the shades. But I don't want to. It's natural light. Back to YouTube. All right, and back to the stream chat. Make sure real quick. Sure, not miss anybody in the collab cam room. I am not. Back. And one thing that Colorado has that this law seems not to is the allowance for awnings. Well, I mean, think about it. Awning is a good way to protect yourself from the sun. When you're in the high desert, it's easy to burn, like your skin and stuff. So, not as much of a problem in the northern Michigan. It would be nice, but it's not as urgent. Excellent. In Texas, the HOA cannot do anything and will be responsible for all legal costs. Yeah, exactly. Is this the state that doesn't let you collect rainwater from your own roof? But that's not the HOA. That's the state claiming all rain from the sky belongs to them. So it's a little different. Uh, that's a matter that you can kind of work through your state with, and it's really hard to get a desert state to agree with. So I'm assuming that they're talking about Texas there. I don't know. I don't know that Michigan has that same problem being around the Great Lakes, but they might. They might. All right, let's move on before we end up with too much of the weird politics going on and continue on. This one, it really got people riled up. Mostly because the implementation that these folks used was not the best. Electrify America limits max charging to reduce wait times at select stations. So at select stations, you cannot get 100% charge, and they will cut you off. Done. No retaps, no anything. And my friend Sergio and I, we decided that if they would just charge more past 90%, or if you were free, they would actually start charging you real dollars past 90%. And if they couldn't charge because they didn't have your credit card or credit card charge failed, cut you off at the 90%, assuming it was somebody who charged it free, for free. And not 90%, it's 85%, whatever the case may be. Under this program, charging sessions at designated locations will automatically end once the vehicle reaches 85% stated charge. Drivers will then have 10 minutes to move their vehicle before idle fees are applied. This decision comes in response to customer feedback and targets high utilization stations to enhance efficiency. The pilot will be conducted at the following stations: Plaza de Sol, Target, T2328 in Carson, Ralph's 60 in Glendale, Bank of America Washington Centelina in Los Angeles, Bank of America LA Chinatown in Los Angeles, Vons 2598 in La Crescenta, Walmart Supercenter 2177 in good old San Diego, Target T0767 in San Dimas, Target T1309 in Venice, Yorba Canyon Center in Yorba Linda. So if you charge at any of these Californian stations that apparently have an overcrowding problem, you will be capped at 85%. So I do wonder about some of these cars that aren't actually allowed to charge there because they're home built or whatever. Could you get around it by making your car say a different level of charge to the station? But that's just the deviousness in me. Yeah, you see? What can I do about this? Not that I would actually do it, but it does cross the mind. Electrify America said it would be monitoring station performance and customer sentiment throughout the pilot, making adjustments as necessary. So it's got to be annoying to roll up needing a charge to keep on going when there's a bolt charging at 50 kilowatts max, and probably way less than that because it's almost done charging, to find that this bolt is charging to 100% from whatever they came in at and won't leave till they get to their 100%. Even though there's AC chargers right next to the station, and the AC charger would be just as fast. Tesla ran into this before where we got our original version of the idle fees because everybody had free supercharging. And so you'd have like these doctors and lawyer types that were sitting around soaking up every last ounce of free charging they could get, to the point where other people couldn't charge. And Tesla solved it in two ways. They continued to build out the network, so there were more stations. And then they implemented the idle fees to the point where if you had so much more money than time, that they would charge you for leaving the car at the station after it was full, so that you could help pay for these extra stations. And then now they have the new version, which does what Sergio and I suggested, of once you hit the level that they want you to kick rocks with, they charge you more, that same dollar a minute past 90%. So if you really need it, then they will allow you to get it, but you're going to pay for it. What was never made clear, because I haven't found anybody who was at one of these stations during one of these times where this happened, if your charge planner pushes you over the 90%, which it does sometimes. It says, to make it to the destination, you're at a hole in the network. To cross the chasm, you're going to need 97%. So we're going to get you there. It was never explained if they would still overcharge you for that extra 7%, when they were the ones moving the percentage for you, and also not building that network out enough that you could do it at the 90%. If anybody has heard of somebody in that situation, I would love to read the story. But I've been looking and didn't find anything yet. One comment. Thinking slow to charge, leaf, and bolt. Exactly what this was for. Continuing on. Amazingly, the Tesla Cybertruck was the best U.S. selling vehicle with over 100 worth. What a weird awkward title. Did they fix it? They did not. The U.S. Cybertruck best selling vehicle over 100K in June. They did fix it. Okay. Yeah. So in June, of all the vehicles over 100 grand, This was it. Really. Would not have expected that. That either proves that the volume has continued to increase, or that people have stopped spending so much money on cars in these uncertain times. See how they did. See how they achieved that. So KBB found that new vehicle prices remained steady and mostly unchanged from both May and June of 2023. Meanwhile, the average transaction price for EVs was up 0.9% compared to May, but down 2.5% compared to June. For Tesla, its transaction prices for June, when compared to May, both increased. This is due to the Cybertruck being such a good seller in the US that it bumped the company's average transaction price upward. Okay. Makes sense. Sold more than 3,200 units in June, according to its report for June. It was whose report? KBB's? Because it wasn't in Tesla's report. Firm commented that the Cybertruck's influence on Tesla's average transaction price moving up, while prices for the popular Model Y and Model 3 held relatively steady month over month in June. Although both have increased significantly since January, the Cybertruck is likely the one reason Tesla's ATPs have increased. In June, the Cybertruck was the best-selling vehicle, priced at over $100,000, average transaction price of $112,696, with more than 3,200 units sold. There you go. So I guess the other high rollers were just not in that kind of volume, and that's why. Let's see. I heard it was the best-selling stainless steel vehicle in New Jersey in the month of May. What achievement! It does sound that way at first, yes. This person's asking sold or delivered. I'm hoping he means for the other manufacturers, and this type of report is on sales, not on deliveries to dealers. All right, so anyway, let's continue on. It's not a very helpful comments section. Tesla secured a new $256 million Megapack contract to expand what would be one of the largest batteries in Australia. Combined with stage one, the $500 million battery will be 1.56 gigawatt hours when completed. And then somebody said that was wrong, and then Tesla Energy themselves tweeted something, so I left it in. What probably happened was it was another case where they did a dual vendor situation. Here is our recall of the day. I don't think there are any more beyond this one. BMW and Fiat recalled more than 700,000 cars over faulty airbags that could explode. The faulty BMW airbags are also in danger of partially inflating, so when you do need them to explode, they don't. And when you don't, they do. The Fiat airbag failure relates to a faulty connection between the belt and buckle. They're recalling nearly 400,000 cars in the US due to faulty airbag inflators that could potentially explode, according to NHTSA, on Wednesday. Separately, Stellantis has announced that a further 300,000 vehicles are being recalled due to airbag failure. An explosion of the inflator can result in sharp metal. Are we serious? This is basically what happened to Takata all over again. So basically, your airbag becomes a shotgun aimed at your face, resulting in sharp metal fragments sticking the driver or other car passenger, other car occupants, potentially leading to injury or death, says the NHTSA. In addition, a faulty inflator can also only partially inflate the airbag, so it might not shoot you, but it also, you and your car are counting on it, and it's not where it needs to be, as it needs to be. The recall affects certain sedans and sport wagon type vehicles. The sedans in question are cars that had their original steering wheels replaced with an M Sport wheel. Excuse me. According to the notification, car dealers will replace the airbags free of charge, as they should. The Stellantis cars can suffer from a different issue relating to an improperly connected seatbelt buckle sensor. The faulty connection can prevent the airbag from deploying at all. So if it's a certain type of crash and it sees you're not wearing a seatbelt, it will determine that would be more dangerous, and it won't It won't do it, even though you were wearing your seatbelt, and it would make more sense to deploy the bag. Let's see. Just days before this announcement, BMW announced the recall of 44,000 SUVs in Canada over faulty airbag inflators. Those inflators were made by Takata Corporation. So it is literally a Takata airbag situation. It's them again. I, my last two cars were affected by this. The last Volt and the first Tesla. And I thought that we were out of the woods on this, but I guess not. I'm getting new ones. All right, then we get the hydrogen guy, and let's go to the Chevy Equinox EV, of course. The Equinox EV gets a small power bump, and the $36,000 base model is still nowhere to be found. Whoops. Equinox EV is entering its second model year, and the new number comes with a handful of minor updates. Most notably among them is a power bump for the both motor configurations, bringing the dual motor models up to around 300 horsepower and 335 foot-pounds of torque, from 288 and 333, respectively. Bumping the single motor variants to 220 horsepower and 243 foot-pounds of torque, from 213 and 236, respectively. Don't complain, it's free power. Take it. And then, on that same note, we had somebody else talking about the same car. As my mouse jumps all over the screen. New pricing. Okay, so the pricing stays about the same, but the motors get more power. Oh, for 2025, the base is technically discontented. However, the base model now has features that wouldn't have offered in the theoretical 1LT that never appeared for 2024. The LT comes with a urethane steering wheel, manual seat controls, and cloth seating for the price of $34,995. Instead, Chevrolet has opted to upgrade the Equinox's level of equipment via add-on packages. For example, the Comfort package adds stuff back to the Equinox, such as power driver's seat, heated front seats, and a heated steering wheel. There is now an active safety package that adds rear traffic alert, nice, and traffic sign recognition, cool. Adding the comfort and convenience and active safety package brings the Equinox LT back to where the old 2LT trim would have been, all for the same price as before, $43,295, including a $13.95 destination fee. The LT models with the Comfort package and Active Safety 2 package will cost just $36,995. And then you get your tax credit. Go. Moving on. Car dealership guy's got a podcast next week where he's going to be talking about the whether the grid can handle all the EV charging. We know it can, so I'm curious to see how his guest will go over that. But what he's talking about this week on his post, he says EV car sales are doing something weird. April sales data shows a 12% year-over-year rise in vehicle deliveries. But there's a very important detail missing. If you exclude Tesla, sales actually grew 75% year-over-year, a big spike. And as we know, Tesla sold more than they made, but obviously they didn't sell enough to make the number go up. But that was the results were good, and their energy division did great, so the stock market loved it. But then if you take them out of the picture, then everybody else grew 75% year over year. It's a big number, but it's easy to go from 1 to 3. Here's my prediction. With recent EV price reductions and 16 new EVs coming to market this year, the market share will rise even further. For consumers, expect more desirable EV options to hit the market, driving market share even higher. For dealers, this may represent an opportunity to capitalize on a re-accelerating EV trend. Just don't get greedy. Get more EV trends and highlights from Polk here. EV guy says, it's crazy. Rivian, Lucid, Hyundai, Kia, Ford are all exploding. and not physically, obviously, but like in volume production sales. More and more models and more cars on the road. Love to see more options. This is actually surprising. This is actually surprising math, though 75% year over year is huge for non Tesla. This the discounts in April were insane. I leased a Toyota BusyForks for nothing. What? Nothing? That's a great deal. Immediate 1750 discount off MSRP from Toyota, and the dealer knocked off an additional $2,000. Residual value is listed at 21.5. This was a $50,000 car that now costs me $224 per month. That's pretty darn good. That is a killer deal. I love most of your content, but I couldn't disagree more with you on EVs. I have 7 franchises and we cannot give away an EV. Model E, Mach E, Lightning, Equinox, Blazer, blah blah blah. Every single one is virtually unsellable. No interest whatsoever from consumers. Our dealership guy says, well, it could be your market. Consumer interest is segmented highly by region, the top being the Pacific West, and at the least in areas of Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana area. But for it to actually literally be zero, I suspect there's something wrong with your dealership. Have you added on a bunch of BS that people don't want to the car? Have you put them around back with flat tires and no charge? Look inward on that. The guy you're responding to has 17 followers. So what? 20. Again, doesn't matter. Uh, Now, if we just had a charging network and electric grid that could handle it. I have a charging expert coming on the pod next week to discuss exactly this issue, and I won't spoil it, but his answer was actually eye opening. Watch out for the Chris Nillen episode next Thursday. Somebody remind me on that. Looking forward to this one. Can you please post the link live? Yes, agreed. Absolutely. And you can follow Car Dealership Guy podcast if you don't want to miss it. I shall. Done. And thank you. Oh, hey, look, it's me. And I didn't put it in there, did I? I did not. So it must have been a one-off. Oh, I see what it is. It's our Australian farmer guy again. Uh, uh, Sales direct to consumer, Tesla versus sales to dealerships. I imagine there's much channel suffering, perhaps. So this Australian farmer says, "Can a Prius tow as much as my F-250 6.7 HO King Ranch?" And I said, "A Prius? No, but an EV with an appropriate frame and motors, yes." Or you can overkill it with a Tesla Semi, assuming you aren't going less than 500 miles, or somewhere where the nascent megacharger networks got coverage. Are you gonna get ridiculous? I can get ridiculous with you too. Let's tow your boat with a Tesla Semi. I won't buy an EV just for the benefit of no fossil fuels. I ordered my next one because I'm done with service. Oh, my wife hasn't taken her EV in for service in years, but I have to constantly deal with service issues on my 5-year-old ICE car. I just want to end the surface drama. Like I said, it's not the environmental aspect is not at the top of everybody's list. It's not even at the top of my list. As EV and green as I am, it was like 5. Disrupting technology is nearly impossible to stop, even with massive amounts of misinformation and FUD surrounding EV sales will continue to grow, and market share for ICE will continue to fall. Big companies like Kodak and Nokia get it wrong all the time. This makes sense that non-Tesla brands went from almost nothing to a decent start. Tesla still sold more than the rest combined. The key is they are capturing ICE market share, not Tesla market share. Yep. Yes, that's because Tesla has all the sales and growth slowed. Other companies are going from 10K to 20K and saying, wow, 100% increase is a missing context. I think that's what Tesla Patriot said as well. Interesting. The transition to EVs is happening. When you hear otherwise, it's the screams of the dying that you're hearing. Yeah, yeah. We keep saying that. Like, every time they give us that crap, they're not being genuine. There's a cool breakdown yesterday that I'm going to try to find. Basically, the cost of batteries going down 500% since 2015. 100 kilowatt hour battery in 2015 was 30,000. Today is 6,000. Let's see who else responded to the Australian farmer. And he's not actually one, but excuse me, he sounds just like all the other sea lions. Joe says, "Why should it?" And Australian farmer guy says, "It shouldn't. It suits a certain type of consumer. I was joking. EV won't work for me." Uh, Priest is not EV, you idiot. um, I wouldn't normally go for that, but you started it. Hybrid, whatever, who cares? There's a huge difference between those two. They are for city dwellers who are crammed together like sardines. You EV fanboys are a tough crowd. EV resistance is stupid as F, and the day you realize it, it'll be too late as you're unable to fill your car with gas because it tripled in price in short order. I'll give them that. No, but most people don't need that capacity. Again, with the joking. These people are always joking. I'm so joking. I do need that capacity for my horses and fifth wheel. And there are electric vehicles that will get you done. 2 Teslas and a 2500 HD in the stable. Before the Teslas, the truck was 20,000 miles a year. Now it's 4,000 miles a year. Right tool for the right job. Bill says, no, you need a Corvette for that. You want to get ridiculous. He got ridiculous too. Joking aside, what's your max towing need? Can that Ford F-150 Lightning, Chevy Silverado, or Tesla Cybertruck meet the need? Not on the frames. If he's hauling a gooseneck trailer with all those horses. And he didn't answer. So the answer is probably actually yes. If he chose a more appropriate haul rig, he could probably get done with an EV. What an odd comparison. Who exactly is cross shopping a hybrid commuter and a diesel pickup? It can free fall. But a tool, he thinks a Prius is an EV. Can any sedan? Great joke, bub. No, what I've given $20 to drive, it will go further. Absolutely. Can your F-250 tow as much as the Tesla Semi? I don't know why so many of them get marked as spam. Grok is pretty stupid. Assuming that Grok is the one doing this. Look at this. The Tesla Semi has a smaller grill than many of these other Legacy's fake grills on their sedans. Stupidest effing comment. The comparison isn't even the Prius. It's the trucks in the segment. You just want to hate EVs for the sake of hating them. All right, so Mr. All Car Lunacy says, how many people need towing ability for horses and fifth wheel trailers connection? And why are they talking about building the average vehicle for that? Right, like, unless you for some reason can only have one car, get an appropriate EV for that, and then only do it for when you're hauling the horses around. Unless your horses are constantly at show 52 weeks of the year. Why not get something that's easier to park? All right, so that was me following for the podcast, so I don't forget for Thursday. I think. All right, so yeah, it's the one that's upcoming, not that one. I think. What was July 11th? Was it before Thursday? It was Thursday, so next Thursday I need that for. This one's from Drive Tesla Canada. Update. These new signs have been added on the Revelstoke supercharger. Not sure it was Tesla charging or the city that added them. EV charging only. Towed at vehicle owner's expense. EV charging only. Towed at vehicle owner's expense. If it was the city, then they had Tesla do it because that is the way that Tesla does the don't charge from this side and this charger is 250 kilowatts signs. But I like that last part. Towed at vehicle owner's expense. Put a phone number on there so we can call it and get them towed. We need more of this. The second supercharger was built in one of the busiest parking lots in town. As a result, it frequently gets iced, both literally and figuratively. There's ice, and there's an ice. Good. And I still think some people intentionally park there with non-EVs. Yes, absolutely. We'd love to see it. The signs mean and do nothing. Bring on the tow trucks and start writing people tickets. Do the same here. Yeah, absolutely. Let's check on the multi-stream chat real quick. And while that loads, we will load up the next tweets. Article. Article. Go back to the regular chat. Florida has a huge EV market, and it's paying for other states' chargers instead. Governor, this is what we were talking about last week. Ron DeSantis has once aimed to strengthen Florida's EV infrastructure. Now it's denying the federal charging funds, and the money is going elsewhere. So we talked about how Florida's gas stations and other charging hubs wanted to use this money in the IRA to build out their charging stations. And Florida, 2 years after the start of the program, still hadn't done anything with the application process. Let us know where to send it and how, and give us our money so that we can, put some more charging at the Wawa or at the airport or whatever. And told them, saw some icing of a charge spot in an otherwise empty parking lot in Central PA. Yeah, some of these people are doing it on purpose, and get them out of there. And so anyway, welcome to the free state of Florida, the Sunshine State. Next EV charger, 200 miles. Charge up at the sign, huh? The end of 2023, Florida's roads were home to about 230,000 EVs, making the Sunshine State the second biggest EV market in the U.S. Chalk it up to low electricity cost, or abundant sunlight for solar energy, or even the huge luxury car market in cities like Miami. No matter the reasons, Florida's electric car growth has been hailed as a beacon of progress by the nonprofit Electrification Coalition. Not a bad outcome for a technology that's often embroiled in bitter partisan politics, especially in a state where the political climate is very different from other EV-heavy places like California and New York. That's for sure. But politics are coming for EVs in Florida. Yeah, go figure. As U.S. government aims to make unprecedented investments into charging networks that serve EV drivers, Florida is falling behind. A deliberate decision by state leaders. So I was saying it, and now they agree. Florida has yet to dole out any existing federal money allocated to the state to grow its DC fast charging network, as multiple outlets reported in recent weeks, including the Tampa Bay Times and Axios. The state has $198 million over 5 years earmarked for chargers over the NEVI program. But not a single dollar has been distributed to private companies in the form of grants to install the new EV plugs. That means companies like ChargePoint, Tesla, and even gas stations that wish to install chargers cannot do so with federal funding help in Florida as they can in other states. Instead, the Florida Department of Transportation produced a new website that, among other things, rails against the groupthink culture that is the Biden agenda, as well as EVs themselves. Did I not tell you that it was frickin' DeSantis and cronies? It may not be him exactly, but it's people who act and think just like him. Oh, EVs? Biden? Screw our constituents. People who actually pay taxes in this state. No, forget them. Mr. Oliver Lunacy says, even paying a premium for the JEA solar program, it's only 14 cents a kilowatt hour here. Boom. I was under the impression that Florida was pro-business. What happened? The folks who are pro-business are just lip servicing. They're not actually walking the walk. Especially if they think they can score some political points by stopping the other side from giving us stuff to help our people. These politics, my favorite are the politicians who vote against something and then come home to brag about how they brought money home to their people. It's like, you voted no. You helped them? How? Rather than focusing on ways to increase the throughput and highway capacity, the U.S. Department of Transportation seeks to force people out of their cars in one way or another, whether that be reducing lanes or issuing regulatory mandates that force electric vehicles on American consumers. Nobody has to buy an EV. You don't have to buy a new car. The website reads, "Why would the government be so insistent on getting rid of one of the greatest inventions since the combustion engine? The first cars were electric, though." Uh, the site reads, "Roads are not for politics." Really? It sounds like it's exactly what you're doing. Oh, then they got the little DEI in there. Yeah, this has DeSantis' sweaty fingerprints all over it with his little elfin toed curled shoes. Uh, but it also includes partisan flavored criticism of EVs, citing the money that Ford has lost building out its manufacturing base and what it now calls low consumer demand, despite a record sales year in 2023. Oh yeah, it's low. Only selling the most ever. Oh, well, the federal government's obsession with electric vehicles. Why are you still quoting these people? FDOT announced that this new website in a statement filled with invective towards the Biden administration from Governor Ron DeSantis. "Unlike the federal government, my leadership in Florida's Department of Transportation is focused solely on transportation." Well, then how come people are stuck in your state? They can't move. Can't move around. Hmm? I mean, there's plenty of superchargers, but it sounds like the others are having trouble getting traction. So this doublespeak is common with these showboating governors like Abbott and DeSantis. DeSantis said, "We listen to Floridians and meet their needs. Roads are not for politics, but watch as I change it." If Florida shuns that federal money, the Sunshine State's taxpayers are essentially funding EV chargers in other states like California and New York, says Lauren McDonald, the CEO of analytics firm EV Adoption. Florida residents have paid for NEVI via their federal taxes, so if Florida doesn't use the money to build out charging infrastructure, then DeSantis is, in essence, cheating his own state's residents of getting something in return for their tax payments, McDonald said. Meanwhile, would-be charging providers who want to serve Florida's growing EV community are getting fed up. Yeah, because they're overpaying. There's something in here. Can I get a fresh one? Thank you. Hey, baby, how was your bath? You didn't wash your hair? You did wash your hair. Look the same as it did before you took your bath. Yeah, you did take a bath, though. Yes, that's right. But you did not wash your hair. You look sleepy. You gonna take a nap? No, that's true. Why? Because you're rubbing your eye? Either it's too hot or you use a different soap than normal. She'll be fine. Or if you use different lotion, they'll do it too. Um, so the Florida businesses have already, as we talked about last week before, lambasted them for the slow rollout of the NEVI-funded chargers, as the group said, as Inside EVs covered before. The DC charger installation process is often hampered by cumbersome local permitting processes, which can vary wildly from community to community. Absolutely. FDOT spokesperson Michael Williams defended the site's claims. Are you serious? Your answer is to double down when a reporter asks you about the BS on your website? And reiterated the onus of building out charging will be on the private sector in Florida. They want to do it privately, but you have government grants that are available to them that they can't get because you're being butts. I'm sorry. Let me stop and read the comments before I get too much into this. Remember the state level law that said municipalities aren't allowed to ban gas stations being opened? I think this was somewhere around Orlando that prompted that overreach. Yes, indeed. Marzan Ghazi, hello. Good to see you. Let me check the multi-stream while we're here and continue on. Besides the fact that the private sector is the one tasked with building out America's charging networks, McDonald's from EV Adoption said that the statement is a mischaracterization of how our century-old car evolves as new technologies emerge. Mr. All Electric Cars says, did you get that stuff out of the bottom of the cup? There was like something in the bottom there. Oh, I can look again if there's ice in there. Probably okay. We'll find out in a minute when the ice starts to melt. Um, let's see. Oh yeah. So Mr. Electric Car Lunacy says that Florida's taxpayers here paying for the NEVI program while the state's government blocks Florida getting any benefit. Meanwhile, they're tied. Uh, they tried to add $200 a year to the plate fee. Make it make sense. Uh, good old Elf Shoes is trying to screw you guys left and right. He doesn't care um, about you guys as long as he can make it some performative gestures that he can think he's sticking it to Biden while he sticks it to you guys. I'm sorry. The guy's a clown. Let's see. The hostility towards EVs in the NEVI program represents a strange reversal for DeSantis. In 2020, the governor touted the $8.6 million investment in the strengthen Florida's electric vehicle infrastructure and improve Florida's environment. The state even drafted a robust EV infrastructure master plan in 2021 that anticipated aggressive growth in the network of chargers to serve it. Yeah, like Florida was the first one to include the EV evacuation on their state updates, and then now this. Not only will these charging stations promote reduced emissions and better air quality, they'll also improve mobility and safety over the ever increasing number of Floridians that drive electric cars, said DeSantis in a 2020 statement. A far cry from the unscientific climate alarmism that FDOT is decrying today. Unscientific climate alarmism. The scientists all agree on what is going on here. To the point, not just the scientists, look at your own insurance industry in your states, just right there. The people who live in actuarial tables, they see it happening. They even call it climate change, is why we don't want to insure this, and this house. This is why we raise rates on this, and this house. Because this house is likely to be underwater in 10 years. Okay, we're not going to insure it. What does that tell you? They have no political statements. They are all about the dollars. I talked about the bean counters at the corporate car purchasing department. These guys are worse. So if they're saying it and the bean counters are saying it, you're on the wrong side. Around the time that Trump stepped up his criticism of EVs, DeSantis, who was also vying for GOP nomination before dropping out, vetoed bipartisan legislation which would have led the state to buy more of them. Continuing, the FDOT spokesperson countered by saying there's been no policy shift under DeSantis. Yeah, right. There's no policy shift. You look at the 2020 and the your website, and they don't match. Something has changed. Uh, Slide in my face and tell me, or spit on my face and tell me it's raining. Yeah, it's not exactly how it goes, but it's a cleaner way to say that. I am curious what the comments are on this one. 7.5 billion in federal funds yield only 8 charging stations thanks to Pete. No. Can someone provide details on the 8 stations? Is each station a single charging device, or are there multiple charging devices at each station? Well, there's a minimum of 4. Can't believe people are still using this lame argument. It can take 2 years to get a site acquired, permitted, and built out. That part. I live in Florida and own 2 EVs. There's no shortage of charging locations, all privately funded. Not sure what the issue is other than Florida being very careful about taking federal funding with lots of strings attached. They didn't even say that, so you are in the same clown car as DeSantis. The major highways have lots of charging, and they mentioned Buc-ee's in the article. Yeah, but these are all Tesla chargers. Not everybody can use the Tesla charger. For instance, VinFast. Okay, they don't matter, right? Stellantis. That's Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Fiat. They can't use superchargers. third-party chargers matter. Let's see. The major highways, blah, blah. The only partisan thing is the article. Yeah, the subjects of the article. The strings attached is that it's to be used for a specific purpose. Yeah, that's like, here's some money. You're supposed to use it for chargers. Oh no, you used it for prisons. What? You got a new electric chair? No, 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 no. That's not what that was for. Let's see. Almost all, maybe actually all federal money distributed to the states has the exact same string attached. What strings are attached that would be a negative for EV owners? Yes, exactly. All right, we're almost done with these, and then we will go on and see what was added to the chat here. Florida doesn't like all the strings attached to the money. That's actually the story here. Articles like this, what I was expecting when they hired a lot of Vox people. La, da, 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 da. Name the strings that would cause Florida problems. How is turning down federal money ever a benefit for taxpayers? It's essentially their money. Baloney. When FDOT generates a web page that's pretty much non-stop right-wing talking points in lieu of actually doing something, I'd say the article is on target. Unfortunately, the facts appear not to support your partisan slant. And Mr. Ological Lunacy says, hey, so good news, by the way, about the climate from the EU's Copernicus. 2023 sea surface temperatures were so bad in June 2024 that it's no longer a record-breaking streak, unlike the past 12 months before. Ah, yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen this year with our hurricane cycle. It's not looking like it's going to be fun. Climate from EU's Copernicus. Sea surface temperatures were so bad in June that June 2024 is no longer on a record-breaking streak, like the past 12 months before. So is that good? Like, was like a slight dip? If so, that's better than nothing. All right, next we've got. Yes, the OG is back. The original Model 3, the long-range rear-wheel drive, has returned. And it returned in Highland trim. So now we get all the advantages. So instead of 310 miles of range, that was later software upgraded to 325-ish miles of range, depending on if your car wanted to play nice or not. You now get 363 miles of range, although your 0 to 60 is under 5 seconds. The fastest car in the world, other than Tesla Model Y, or sorry, safest car in the world, other than Tesla Model Y, for $35,000 out the door if you qualify for the tax credit. Wow. Not only that, it's cheaper than the Model 3 standard range rear-wheel drive if you qualify for the tax. Oh, a bit of sarcasm, yeah, slight dip, both well above 2022. Yeah, yeah. So it was still ridiculous, but it didn't break a record this time. Right on cue, loud thunder. Right as you said, you were worried about hurricanes this year. Yeah, it's. I was watching. As I was watching Beryl tear up Texas, another depression had formed right in between uh, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. It was just hanging out there. I was like, oh, is it gonna go? And then it kind of wobbled a little bit at the end, and then it just evaporated. Thankfully, because of how close it was. If it had turned into anything, it would have been a mess because it was too close to do a full scale evacuation. Um, so yeah, the Model 3 long range rear wheel drive is back and better than ever. So if you have a Model 3 rear wheel drive now and you don't have anything like premium internet connectivity for life or anything special about it, and you were already looking, it might be time to consider doing something about it before Tesla either makes the trim go away again or raises the price again. This person tries to say it's not the safest car in the world. Ryan says it is facts, and he brings receipts. What is the number one safest car? 2024 Genesis GV60, safety score 10 out of 10. Acura TLX, safety score 10 out of 10. Subaru Impreza, safety score 10 out of 10. 2024 Model 3, estimated safety score 10 out of 10. I think he uses an Android. All Recognize those pen circles. 2024 Volvo V6 Recharge, 10 out of 10. And Volvo V90, 10 out of 10. There you go. 2990. I guess that might be in his area. He points out the Kia EV6, or uses a different list. So one of the safest, not the safest. Other cars have the same score. Uh, he's splitting hairs here, but when you look at the raw data, it's Model Y, then Model 3, then XS and Y. Or XS and Y are in there. And whenever they have to test something so heavy, I bet you the Cybertruck will be on one of those lists as well. Really splitting hairs there. um, all but the rear-wheel drive versions are eligible for the $7,500 credit. Going to be very strong second half for 2024 for the Tesla. Actually, though, that statement is not accurate, Dr. Borelli, because look at what happens to the price. You got rear-wheel drive $3,390, long-range rear-wheel drive is $29, and these are including the tax credit and the gas savings. I don't know why. I still hate that Tesla does that. Just show me the tax savings. That's fair, but gas savings is not it, because if I'm trading in a Model X for Model X, there are no gas savings. They've already been realized. And in my case, I was going from an electric to another electric from an original electric, so there were never any gas savings in the picture. People that are not on Twitter need to hear about it, but how do you get the message to them? Yeah, how do you get the message to them? Might want to take out an advertisement or something. And related to this new trim coming back, we have price change. The white interior is on the Model 3 rear-wheel drive and Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive has dropped from $2,000 to $1,000 in the US. And I suspect that is so that you can get the white interior and keep the tax savings. Why can't I? Oh, there's a new version of this post. See the latest post. I like white. I see the latest version of the post. Why wouldn't you just link me to that? So the difference was he got rid of the fact that the long range all-wheel drive, okay, has changed from 2,000 to 1,000 in the US. That is the difference. If you have any people in the back seat and you have a launch Model 3, you might also be interested in the rear screen back there. Then we've got some more on the new variant. This is from Sawyer. It offers 363 miles of range, 91 more miles than the standard range rear-wheel drive at less price. And since the standard range Model 3 rear-wheel drive doesn't qualify for the EV credit, the Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive is effectively $4,000 cheaper at $34,990. Yep. What all is X loading? Why it loads so slowly compared to the news sites, which also have a whole mess of stuff that they load up when I click on them. And then we've got another X post. Close this. And that. And probably this one too. Yep. This is from Inside EVs. Move over Hyundai Ioniq 6. Tesla's once discontinued King, the long-range Model 3 rear-wheel drive, is back, and it qualifies for the $7,500 tax credit. The same tire design and bad quality. What are you talking about? No SW version. SW version. What is that? SW version. All right, Barzan, good to see you. I'll catch you on the replay. Um, let's see. So 363 miles. Sounds like it is going to beat the Onyx 6, isn't it? It does beat the dual motor long range by several miles because of the weight savings, basically. Da, da, da. So 363 for the Model 3, and these are all the Model 3s. What I'm looking for is, you said move over Hyundai. What does the Hyundai get you? It doesn't say. Well, I'm not going to fueleconomy.gov to figure it out. We'll just take the implication that it is better than the Onyx 6 because I told them to move over. All right, coming into the home stretch here. Let's take a look at Tesla Megapack. All-electric car lunacy and decent traction control and good balance, so you can drive it in places that traditionally could not support rear-wheel drive cars 12 months a year. That part. With 50-50 weight balance, or was it like 49-51? That car was superb. Is superb now. Don't be afraid to drive it in the snow. Just get proper snow tires, and you'll be fine in nearly everywhere. SE Robinson says, thanks for all the help. Here we go. Tesla Charging says, our utility, our Houston, Texas superchargers are 70% back online thanks to the efforts from the local utilities. We also deployed additional superchargers powered by Tesla Megapack at Hempstead Road to keep you on the road. And so this is the portable supercharger that we've seen in the past before the last one burnt up. It's got a Megapack and a bunch of, what was that? A bunch of, and two V3 superchargers on it. So you've got 8 charge points, not charge point the company, but 8 NAX handles and a Megapack. So they are golden. And then somebody was complaining about it being dragged by a diesel truck. And somebody else is like, have you not heard of the Tesla Semi? I may have that in here, or I may have forgot to copy it over. I'm not good at that sort of thing. Let me also synchronize the notes from my phone with the notes on the computer, just in case. Just in case I screwed that up. It looks like I did the rest of them on the computer from there. Or maybe not. It says I'm offline. Sign in. Did I just create a conflict? Do a sync. No, sign out. A sync, please. Just this notebook. All right, so I am up to date. I didn't break it this week. I break it so often because as I'm out and about and finding articles, I paste them in there, and I don't always wait for the sync to happen before I do it again on the PC, Mac, PC, whatever, the desktop. Here's a good one. We were just talking about putting your money where your mouth is, and talking about how Farley was doing that. You can now lease a Ford F-150 Lightning for just $1 more than the Maverick this month. $1. You can have all of that with all the benefits you get from a Lightning. Or you can have a Maverick Hybrid. I want the plug-in. I want the plug-in. Although Ford's F-150 Lightning is more than double the cost of a Maverick, lease prices are now nearly the same. You can lease a F-150 Lightning for just, or an F-150 Lightning for just $1 more a month than the entry-level Maverick. Oh, that's the base Maverick, not just Mavericks. Like, oh, we picked the top one. Yeah, they're $1 apart. No, the base Maverick is $1 less than the F-150 Lightning. For $1, Bob, you can get a much more capable truck. Ford launched the F-150. It'll be harder to park. I'll give you that. It'll be harder to park, but it'll be electric. Lightning is a full-sized EV pickup with 580 horsepower, 775 foot-pounds of torque, plus the bi-directional power, vehicle to home, all that stuff. Ford calls the Lightning the smartest, most innovative F-150 ever built, and after almost 50 years, Ford revived the Maverick name in 2021, a compact car sold in the 70s as its smallest pickup. Yeah, so Ford's just bringing back all their small cars and making them trucks. Because the Maverick was a car, the Mustang was a car, is a car, both, and then the Capri was a car, and those two are crossovers. And the Maverick is a truck. Interesting. However, massive new incentives this month. You can lease a full-size Lightning electric truck for just $1 more a month in select markets. Maverick XL starts at $28,015, and according to online research firm Cars Direct, Maverick lease prices are estimated at $368 per month for 36 months in New York, with $2,989 due at signing, which is effectively $451 a month. I guess if you did zero down. And why lease a Maverick when you can just do the Lightning for one more? With zero down, that's nice. The 2023 Lightning and standard range model is offered at $452 per month, and that's with the Lightning's more than double starting price of $56,900. And although it's a 2023 model at nearly the same monthly rate as the Maverick, the deal is hard to pass up. Ford is cutting the Lightning's lease price with a $9,500 rebate factored in. It's like half $9,500 down. Ford introduced a new lease incentive this month for the Lightning and Mach-E. The 2023 Lightning is now available for 0% APR for 72 months. And a newer Lightning, all 2024 models are available with 0% for 60 months. Mustang Mach-E 2023 and 2024 are available with 24-month lease and $7,500 in red carpet lease cash. Not bad. If you finance through Ford Motor Credit Company, you can also defer payments for 90 days. There we go. With over 44,000 electric cars sold in the US in the first half of 2024, Ford is the second best-selling EV brand in the US behind Tesla. With new summer savings, Ford hopes to close the gap in the second half of the year. There you go. Get on it, Jim. All right, so yes. Meet the 2027 Ford Focus Dually, says Mr. All-Electric Car Lunacy. Not only is it a dually, it's got a 3-ton capacity and can tow 20,000 pounds. It's got a 500-mile range. It's a Focus. I'd love to see it. Let's take it a step further. The new 2027 Ford Escort dually. Yes. Oh, what was the Mercury? The Mercury Maverick? No, that wasn't it. What was that Mercury of the Escort? I don't remember. One of you guys might remember. John Volker says that Toyota is finally joining IANA, which is what Stellantis, the Pentagram folks, instead of joining the Supercharger Coalition, they adopted JNAX, J3400, and said that they were starting IANA with everybody else who was starting IANA, which at that point hadn't had a name before. And then it got a name. And so far, that's all they have is a name. And now they've got Toyota. Well. Toyota is joining IANA, the new US EV charging network. Adds at least a bit more heft to the 7 amigos, now the gang of 8. Cue the sneering from the fanboys. And then there's the press release from Toyota. Some background on the forthcoming IANA EV network for those who aren't familiar. Got a Car and Driver article on it. It's basically, if you've heard of the Rivian Adventure Network, that's the Supercharger Network, the Mercedes thing, it's that, but with 7, now 8 car brands. Oh no, the Escort Dually is a semi-style fifth wheel, not the V-neck kind for the horse trailers. Oh, the F550 the that one that was on sale for a while and comes back every now and then. The basically the straight truck turned into a pickup truck. uh, wow, this is the prettiest press release I've seen in a long time. They had a nice little photograph and a little green background and a rain cover and the logo and the two versions of the Busy Forks that Toyota sells, the Lexus thing and the BZ4X. This is not too long. Toyota joined 7 other automakers as an investor and founding partner of Iona. They're going to install at least 30,000 charge points in North America by 2030 somehow. Toyota and Lexus customers will have access to growing DC fast charger networks supporting both NACS and CCS ports, and the supercharger network that they also joined up. Plano, Texas, and Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, July 10th. Iona and Toyota Motor North America today announced that Toyota has joined 7 other automakers and as an investor to Iona to support the build out of its high-powered charging network for battery electric vehicles across North America. This allows Toyota and Lexus customers to access the public network of DC fast chargers that Iona will begin deploying later this year. That's faster than I expected after it took them 8 months to make a name. Iona plans to install at least 30,000 charge points in North America by 2030. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath. It's as if Elon Musk told me that self-driving was coming tomorrow as an update. It's for the X time. Anyway, America by 2030, and stations will include NACS and CCS connectors to support all BEV drivers. All right, so is this going to include Canada and Mexico or not? We're excited to announce our support of Iona to deploy the DC fast chargers throughout the US and Canada. And we believe this will not only promote adoption of BEVs and increase customer confidence in the technology, but it will provide Toyota and Lexus customers with access to Iona's rapidly growing. How many times you can say that? Is this an SEO press release? They focus on the holistic customer experience aligns closely with Toyota's in ensuring that charging stations provide visitors with amenities and convenience in addition to vehicle charging. And Iona plans to bring its first batch of DC fast charging online in 2024 and will continue the build out of additional stations throughout the decade. You've only got, if you do it from the end of 2023, you've got 5 years to meet your goal. That's it. So let's see, 30,000 divided by 5 is what? 30, 1, 2, 3 divided by 5. You're looking at 6,000 stations per year. Can you do it? I don't think you can. It would be nice to be proven wrong, but I don't see it. Unless they do like Tesla and they start out and they just exponentially get better at it. All right, so that's enough of that press release. Let's move on. Speaking of Stellantis, let's take a look at this funky Fiat Grand Panda EV. Will cost less than $29,000 and could land in the US. There's been a lot of chatter that makes it look like this is going to happen. And here's a side view of the Fiat Panda EV. This one is not a case of a small car becoming an SUV. That's a small car becoming a small SUV. It's a lot bigger than the original Panda, but it's not all that big because it's a Fiat. After showcasing 5 Panda-inspired concepts at the Geneva Motor Show in February, Fiat unveiled the first images of its new affordable EV last month. As part of its 125-year celebration, Fiat officially unveiled the Panda Grand EV on Thursday, sharing new details, images, and pricing. So let's take a look at this. And for my European friends, this will soon be on your roads. For my American friend, this potentially could soon be on our roads because, Stellantis, they gave some ultimatums to the brands that didn't want to get cut, and they can easily slap a Jeep Liberty skin on this, and assuming that the Liberty is now a fondly remembered mark, I don't know, it might be. and I can definitely see them doing a Dodge something with this. I guess you could take out the windows and make it a Ram pharmacy delivery vehicle. I don't know what else you could do with it. Maybe gussy it up a little bit and make it a Chrysler to compete with that mini Buick. The on not the Envoy, the Evoque. It's not, it's not as ugly as it could be, and kind of quirky. Might be fun to drive around. I'd absolutely buy one of these. I'm on my second 500L, and it's an amazing car. I enjoy the styling, and Fiat has been very reliable. I cannot wait for Fiat to introduce another vehicle that is unique and affordable. I love this interior. It is, it suits. I like it. Can you tell I'm an '80s kid, huh? It's like, whoa, nice. Up, dude, and let's go on to the. I like this, but what's that size? It would be much nicer as a two-door instead of four. That's an optional. Not option. I'm not saying it is an option. That is something that they should do as an option. That would be great for sales. And if they get their balance right, uh, they can do it. They can do it. Come on, do it. Make it two doors. Optional, two doors. Because a two-door SUV is not as good selling as a two-door car. A coupe. I almost call it a sedan, which it wouldn't be. Um, mm, I've got something in here that I don't know why it's in here. Stand by. There's no reason for that to be in here. Why is it in here? It was an HOA across town complaining that another something was going in, and they wanted everybody to vote against it. And I'm like, why is that in my list of stories? It doesn't belong there. I copy the link, paste it over this, close the Iona press release. Here are all the upcoming electric cars for 2024, 2025, and 2026. We will kind of scroll through, stop, and look at pictures. The Rivian R3X, the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Giulia. That one's a rendering though. Some Audi. That's a nice, clean looking interior for an Audi. The Q6 e-tron. I like that exterior. Cadillac Escalade IQ we just talked about. Cadillac Optic, which is slotting in below the Lyric. The Dodge Charger, Daytona, bunch of nostalgic names. Uh, this one, the 2024 GMC Sierra EV. Isn't it out already? Hyundai Ioniq 7, spy shots. The Jeep Wagoner S. The Jeep Recon. Yeah, so just do a smaller one to be that Fiat. Lucid Gravity. The Mini Countryman E. In that green, it doesn't look as new as it is. The Porsche Macan Electric First Drive. The 718 Boxster. the Ram 1500 Rev. So this one is the full EV versus the Ram Charger, which is the serial hybrid. If you want, it's a extended range EV. Basically, it's got a V6 engine that spins a generator and isn't hooked in with a planetary gear set to the wheels in any way. So it's what the Volt concept promised us the Volt would be before we got what I described as a fat Prius. Whenever it was out of electric charge, it was just it was less fun to drive than a Prius when it was out of charge. The Range Rover electric teaser. Finally, after over 20 years, the Volkswagen ID Buzz will show up in the States next year. The Volvo EX30, that one's having some trouble getting here for some reason. The EX90. The Kia New Class. Oh, so the BMW New Class, sorry. This one's already here. Oh no, it's the Bolt. That looked like the Equinox to me. So the new Bolt. Look at that, still so cute. Blah blah blah. Hopefully it's a faster charger. The Ford T3 pickup, which we're assuming is Tesla's Cybertruck in Ford form. We'll see. The Genesis GV90. Rivian R2. R3. R3X. Polestar 3, 4, 5, and 6. As well as their O2 Roadster. That was just the concept. The Porsche 7-seater. The BZ5X. Ooh. Actually, it looks better than the BZ4X to me. The Ultium Bolt looks like the gen before it. Yeah, exactly. I guess they're trying to not lose any customers. The Volvo Concept Recharge, whatever that means. And those are the ones they know about. Sad that only Chevy and Volvo have cars that really push EVs into high-volume mass market segments. I agree 100%. By now, I'd really expect Ford to come up with something below the entry-level Mach-E pricing. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next, we've got... This one was funny. Chevy Blazer EV tells owner that he's out of gas. What? You would think that it meant that he was low on charge and it showed the wrong message. No. The cars are common, and so whatever module controls the low gas message realized that he didn't have any gas and told him he didn't have any gas, even though he was at like 80% of charge. Yes, he is out of gas because there's no place to put it. They say they will fix it in the next software update. He showed a YouTube short on Friday. Says, oops, in the day and age, it could be a tongue-in-cheek attempt to send the vehicle operator to the nearest gas station, mini mart, for a packaged bean burrito that's been under the heat lamp for most of the day. Note to GM, find errant display code, comment out, and change software pointer to the proper warning text, and navigation consideration of nearby charge station. Launch an OTA, and all is well at the Blazer world until the next sketchy warning pops up. Yes, Solar Man, they already did that. All right, so YouTube short, let's just use the same window. So he's making his Blazer EV video, and then look at this. He's got 225 miles of range left, right? His car is burning a kilowatt. I'm guessing it's the AC and the standby. Bing, bing, bing. Oh, now I've got thunder. All right. Normally, if I got thunder, the charge rate is down to 200 watts, and the room is still burning 520 watts. Come back. All right, so charge point. Park and charge notification is active. You'll be notified when the car is parked and the range is below something. Vehicle message: low fuel, low fuel. Find nearby gas stations. He's got 225 miles of charge left, and the car's complaining about gas for some reason. And Mr. All Electric Car Lunacy says, that's the best part. The Focus Dually that starts below the Mach E for commercial customers. Yes, that's true. It's going to be the Focus Dually Pro XT, starting at just $7,000. Next up, we've got Energy Boost is now available for recent Model Y rear-wheel drive buyers in the US. $1,000 adds 30 miles. $1,600 dollars adds 50 miles. So what happened here was a couple of the. I thought it was advancement in the cells, but really what happened was a few of the vehicles were built with long-range packs and then software capped, and now they allow you to uncap them for a fee. The other good part about that is that if you don't need the extra range, you can now charge 100% and leave it there, even with the battery pack not being a lithium iron phosphate pack, because you're not using the whole pack. Now, if you unlock this, you'll have to change that behavior, but you'll get more usable range. Next up, we've got considering a Model 3. Watch this range test first. This one is a video basically where the guy says that you only lose like 25 to 50 miles on a rental car. That's not a bad deal. Plus, it's still got the battery warranty on it, so when it gets to 70% degradation in however many miles, you can get the battery replaced. Although, at 70,000 miles, you don't have that far to go before it runs out of actual um, battery warranty anymore. Unlike my car, which has got 8 years unlimited miles, the new cars don't have that. But you get a steal of a deal. And since Hertz is a car dealer, you can also get the used car tax credit if you qualify. That was the point of that article. And then finally, in what we already have lined up, we've got activists. Some folks in Germany that claim to be against pollution and environmental catastrophes, etc., are going after the only pickup truck in their area that does anything about that. Now, yes, Tesla could have a van. They don't have it yet. But misguided is the word I'd use. I don't know what's up with the German activists and their constant railing against Tesla. They must want us to walk everywhere because obviously a Schwinn would be a bicycle would be too much, and they would take your bicycle and clip the tires or something because they are that variety of activist. So these nerds are pouring paint on the Cybertruck in the showroom and holding up a sign. Yep. Save the cardboard forest. Oh, you mean you're planting native trees, hardwood trees, in place of the cardboard forest? Oh no, save the cardboard forest. And then I don't know what they got on their sign there. Um, Viv says, I'll go ahead and state the obvious. If you genuinely care about the climate and ensuring the future is good, you do not attack the company that is demonstrably doing the most to accelerate the adoption of EVs and clean energy. And she's right. If you happen to believe people shouldn't be in cars, so freaking what? They're going to be in cars. So if you make it so they can't get an EV, they're going to get in a combustion car, either because hydrogen is not going to work either propane or gasoline or diesel, and those are definitely not as good for the environment as an EV. If you want to take the bus, they're not going to give up that personal liberty. You'll have to ease them into it being a good idea. You can't just expect that the largest electric car company is going to over in the world is going to shut down overnight just because you threw paint on their cars. It makes you the butthead. You know, Reddit's am I? How's it? AITA? Yeah, yeah, you are. Uh, not. Yeah, everyone else could make better choices, but that's not the way to do it. Elon says absolutely, and the incident is the latest in a string of attacks on both Tesla Cybertrucks and its Gigafactory in Grunheim, Germany. Giga Berlin, aka. During Tesla's delivery event for Cybertruck in November, the company received threats of a mass casualty event, and the man behind the threats was later taken into custody. More recently, protesters launched multiple rounds of attacks at Giga Berlin, and activists in March. Why are we calling them activists? These ones are all terrorists. Uh, even started a fire at the power substation at the Grunheim facility, causing production to stop for a few days and local neighborhoods to go without power. Protesters have also been building tree houses occupying the nearby cardboard forests in order to prevent future expansions to the factory. In May, around 1,000 protesters from the Disrupt Alliance group attempted to storm Giga Berlin, resulting in 23 arrests, 76 criminal complaints, and 27 injured police officers. Something is very strange is happening since Tesla was the only car company to be attacked, wrote Musk in a follow up post on X. And it does appear that way, but again, as I said, I looked it up, found out that they were gluing themselves to the floor at VW, either the factory or the dealerships couldn't tell from the article. Um, so even if they were different groups, they are all running under the same banner of what they claim to want, and they're all severely misguided. And I don't know what they want. I mean, what they actually want, because what they're doing is not going to get the results they want. So I don't know what we can do to make them feel better, but they are certainly not making anyone else feel safe. German officials criticize anti-Tesla Giga Berlin protests. I think Cybertruck is not painted. Painting cars is. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, the Cybertruck is not painted. So these people actually have done worse for the Cybertruck than Tesla did because they put paint on it, whereas Tesla did not. Painted cars is a big contributor to greenhouse gases and bad for environmental concerns. These activists need some dunce caps. So even though this one wasn't as bad as the other terrorist events they've done, it is still, again, counter to their cause. Isn't that strange? So many people have not noticed that part. Yeah, I did not notice that part myself either. Oddly, it gives you even greater choices. Eco-terrorists continue to get a slap on the wrist until they do something awful. Like, what? How much more truly awful can they get? 27 people injured? Mass casualty threats? Terrorists, vandals, any other title, please. Yeah, exactly. Give it. Please stop calling them environmental activists. Call them gas industry paid actors staging a fake protest. We can't call them that until we know that's what's happening. Fix that for you. Please stop call them paid actors staging a fake protest. Yeah, there you go. They are definitely useful idiots. They are not thinking when they do this. I wonder what difference in penalty would be if someone dropped a plane's worth of paint on an oil industry office. The whole facilities would probably end up hunched over and chained to the black site. Sad but true. With just 2 miles per kilowatt hour versus 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour for the Model 3, the Cybertruck isn't environmentally. Are you the Australian farmer again? You're not going to be hauling your horse trailer bumper pull with the Model 3. You will do it with a Cybertruck. And in the US, or I think all of North America, you will not be towing with the Model 3 and keep your warranty. In Europe and the rest of the world, yeah, you can get a tow bar for Model 3, the whole fleet, but not not Model 3 for some reason. Or these activists should be arrested and spend some time in prison. You can't just go and vandalize property just so you can feel good about yourself. That part right there was the part I stopped on. It needs to be compared to a legacy ICE EV pickup, and EV pickups are not semis since it doesn't do the same job as those. Right. Your numbers are off. Cybertruck is about 360 watt hours per mile. You claim 500, and the Model 3 is 240. You claim 222. I have seen lower, like that 222 on the Model 3. But yeah, the 500 would be not driving very efficiently, but also not towing. And this is what we're up against. So, again, I want to thank all of you for your time today. This was one of the longer shows. Not the longest, but up there. What's going on in HV Nomad Land is nothing fresh. There's something I'm looking at that I may try and make a move on. It would be a completely different direction. Not completely, like it'd still be an EV, RV, zero combustion fuels sort of situation, but something popped up on my feed that I had to look into. And we've still got a couple more items to move about, and then we can go ahead and start removing the walls and measure for windows and then order some windows. But all of that may be moot if I have success with this other thing I'm looking at. So if that comes to be, you'll get more details. If not, we'll just continue on the stated course of action and slowly, very slowly. Again, thank all of you guys for your attention today. Thank our channel members for your continued monthly assistance with running this channel. I want to thank Zachary again for starting out the show with a bang, giving us a little donation to help out, and we will catch you on the flip side. Oh, got a new comment. Joel says, "Wow, thank you for the monster power stream." Yes, the monster stream. Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure. And I'm gonna push this button, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.